Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again. Our fourth out of six live commentary streams for the NASCAR Speed Week race weekend. And here for today's stream, a doubleheader. We've got ARCA racing coming up here in a matter of about 15 minutes. We'll have the drop of the green flag, followed by the NASCAR Xfinity Series race later, or Riley Auto Parts Series race later today at 5 p.m. Eastern. Cup racing tomorrow at the Daytona 500. We are just over 24 hours away from the drop of the green flag for the Great American Race, the 68th running of the Daytona 500. And loading up on ARCA's website to get that raw feed up and running here shortly. Get some race statistics for you. A little 200-mile, 80-lap race around the 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway as we kickstart the ARCA season. Butterbean Queen, who ended up winning this race a season ago, won the ARCA Championship, ended up winning double-digit races, and obviously now moved up to the Truck Series full-time for Dodge Ram. Will we see the winner today maybe pull off a miracle run, or maybe not a miracle run, but just a run of the century like what Brendan Butterbean Queen was able to do last season, but winning the first race of the year and then moving on to winning a plethora of races, including the championship. We don't do a lot of ARCA races on the channel. Usually just the super speedways here at Daytona, Talladega a little bit later in the season. Pulling the chat up on my phone right now as we're just getting started. Bam Hall, Marcus Villarreal, Triple Edit, Mr. Joe Italy, thanks for tuning in. Where did Allie Owens qualify? I am not entirely sure yet. Just about to look into the practice and qualifying results while we're waiting the raw feed to start working there. Jake Finch was actually fastest in practice session yesterday. Gus Dean, second fastest in practice, both for the Toyota Brigade. And Jake Finch is a former winner of Super Speedway Racing in ARCA, so he's definitely going to be one of the contenders for the race win today. Thomas Nunziata, third fastest in practice. Isabella Robusto, fourth. Wesley Slimp was fifth. Jake Bowman in sixth. Daniel Dye, seventh. We see him in the Truck Series every weekend. Glenn Reen was eighth fastest in practice. Andy Jankowiak and Jason Kitzmiller, who also ran the truck race last night, are going to see quite a bit of crossover from the Truck Series race to who is running in the race today. Cletus McFarland obviously back to run the ARCA race after running last night. Looking at the list of drivers here, Giovanni Ruggiero, who finished runner-up in the truck race yesterday, going for the ARCA win today. Tiny Tyrell. Mini Tyrell, not Tiny. I saw Timothy. It's got their actual full names on ARCA's website. Just like when I saw Garrett Mitchell instead of Cletus McFarland. Mentioned already about Daniel Dye, Jason Kitzmiller. And if you're wondering for visual purposes where you can watch today's race, it will be on your local Fox affiliate. So Big Fox will be where all of the flag-to-flag visual coverage is, and obviously you can watch here on the channel for live commentary of the full race. Terry Lewis, Frank Powers, also welcome in. Got Austin Cindric as the guest driver analysis in the booth, along with longtime commentator Phil Parsons. Gustine won the pole award for qualifying yesterday afternoon. So starting on the top spot, we'll see if he can get the race win along with it. Dean, a veteran of the Truck Series. Nitro Motorsports, Toyota. Toyota sweeping the top 6 positions through practice yesterday. We're going to go back to the qualifying sheet and take a look at our starting lineup for today's race once we get the command to fire engines. Drivers are already in their cars. I don't believe they've given the command yet. Drop of the green flag roughly 10 minutes from now. See the list of our starting lineup on screen here. Cletus McFarland starting up in the top 5 and 5th, looking for redemption after an early crash last night in the Craftsman Truck Series race. Trying to go from worst one night to first the next. Earl Arnold Jr., thanks for tuning in. Tuning in from work, awesome to hear. Hopefully you have a good day. All right, here's the command. And we missed it. That was not my fault. Fox cut the camera to them and they already gave the command, so we were a little late on it. That's great. Classic Fox. That was a classic. They were showing an aerial shot above the speedway, and then immediately when they cut to the stage, the engines were firing and they were dropping the mic. All right, well, we slightly missed the command, but here we are to go through the starting lineup for today's race. After a couple laps of qualifying, it was Gus Dean who set the fastest time of the 49.133, average speed on that lap of 183.176 miles per hour, and that is your top time. Isabella Robusto with an all-Toyota front row will start in the second place position, and row number 2 will be Daniel Dye with Sean Corr. Cletus McFarland, a.k.a. Garrett Mitchell, alongside Derek White will line up in row 3. Row 4 for Bobby Earnhardt and Timothy Tyrell. Gio Ruggiero, along with Robbie Keneally, will be in row number 5. Row 6 for Ryan Vargas and Jack Wood. AJ Moyer, Bryce Applegate in row 7. Tim Richmond, Willie Mullins in row number 8. Glenn Rein with Jake Finch will be in row number 9. Finch not a good qualifying effort, but again was fastest in practice. Eric Caudell and Ryan Huff will line up in row 10. Back half of the field now, we got Presley Sora and Wesley Slimp in row number 11. Row 12 will be Brian Dozit and Taylor Reimer. Andy Jankowiak, Bryce Hogberg will be in row 13. Jankowiak should be a threat for the win today. Charles Wislowski, along with Hunter Dechtel, will be in row number 14. Caleb Costner on the inside of row 15 alongside Ali Owens. Thomas Annunziata, Cole Raz in row 16. Row 17 for Ron Vandermeer and Ed Pompa. Behind them in row 18, Logan Misaraka and Tony Castino. Andrew Patterson, along with Michael Maples in row number 19. And row 20, rounding out the field, Greg Van Alst and Nick White. Van Alst, the winner of this race 2 seasons ago. And he will be starting very, very deep in the pack. Austin Sullivan, thanks for tuning back in. Engines are started, yes, and we are going to go racing here shortly. Again, our first of only 2 ARCA races that we'll be doing live commentary for this season here in Talladega, as we usually do just the super speedway racing with this series on the channel, as we are still in that build-up to the Daytona 500. Our build-up to try to get to 7,000 subs on the channel continues. Coming into today, I was just looking at it a couple hours ago. I believe we are only 122 subscribers away from our 7,000 benchmark, which we are trying to get to at the end of the Daytona 500 tomorrow. We are on pace to do so because we were 200 away a week ago, so we're fastly closing in on that. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. It helps the channel growth quite a bit, as well as hitting that like button on today's stream, which many of you that are watching right now have already, and I appreciate that. 21 likes. Emogene Blevins, thanks for tuning in. Only 9 a.m. in Nevada. Yeah, it's a very early start out west. Noon start times, we don't usually see those anymore in the NASCAR realms. But with 2 races today and a doubleheader at the Daytona International Speedway, they were going to have to start the first race as early as they could. Qualifying for the NASCAR O'Reilly Series was on actually before the start of this ARCA race. That wrapped up about an hour ago at the Daytona International Speedway. And Austin Hill was able to qualify on the pole for that race, alongside his teammate Jesse Love with an RCR all front row. So how about that? Richard Childress Racing, Daytona 500, Austin Hill able to sweep the pole awards through the O'Reilly and Cup Series races for this weekend. Saw quite a few Cup regulars in that race last night. As far as the race later today, Carson Hocevar will be looking for redemption in the 42 car. And I believe he is the only Cup regular in the field later. Roz, thanks for tuning in as well. Try to refresh ARCA's website and see if they've got their leaderboard working. Might have to log completely out of their website. Cars have already rolled off the racetrack, or off of pit road onto the racetrack. Once more, 80 laps are scheduled distance. Yes, we will be green soon. A few more minutes away. Try to go to their schedule, see if we got anything else. Entry list, qualifying, race info. I don't see anything yet. Let's go race setter. Got nothing yet. RCR once again a threat in the O'Reilly Grand National Series. Yeah, they are definitely the ones to beat. Tell you where Allie Owens qualified? Yeah, I just did when I went through the starting order. I think she is 30th? Yes, 30th. I'll keep the qualifying order on screen until I can get the actual raw feed up and running. ARCA's website a little bit slow today. I'm pretty sure NASCAR.com does not have a raw feed of this with it being an ARCA race. Be nice if they did, but I don't think they do. Nothing. Figured as much. Fox having the same start time as us tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern for the Daytona 500. 25 and a half hours away. A little less than that now. And Cletus McFarland going to get dialed up on the pre-race pace laps, just as we saw yesterday in the truck race.
Here in the ARCA Series last year, you had a great top 10 run at Talladega. What do you think about today?
Well, clearly based off of last night's performance, I'm kind of an idiot. So what I'm going to do today is try and keep that at bay as much as I can. speed car, drive a boring day at 5 and 24, hopefully for a while, and just learn some stuff. I got a lot to learn. I don't know anything about this sport. I gotta just get some laps.
Hey, one thing to remember, be like Biff.
Absolutely. And if I do anything stupid, Biff didn't teach me that.
Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
He's got the right attitude, that's for sure. Let's take a look at our General Tire 200 starting grid. And as we talked about, the Nitro Motorsports teammates, Justine and Isabella Caruso on the front row. Isabella looking for her first career ARCA win. Gus his second at Daytona.
Back at row number 2, we have Truck Series regular Daniel Dye and a former pole sitter here at Daytona, Sean Core. Looking at row 3 here, we got a boy, Cleese McFarland, trying to get back on the horse today next to Derek White from Quebec.
And we'll take a look at the rest of our starting grid with several notables to pick out here throughout the field, including the Joe Gibbs driver, Gio Ruggiero, starting on row 5. How about Ryan Vargas back in ARCA competition, just behind him as well?
Yeah, Jack Rowe back in row number 6. And the PRG car is going to be off with both.
Jake Finch, who had the Super Speedway win at Talladega a couple years ago, back on row number 9. And Taylor Reimer in the Pinnacle Racing Group car as well on row 12.
Yeah, it's cool to see Andy J back here. He's always a fun story. And another guy like Thomas Annunziata, I think, he's run the full season here as well. So a lot of guys looking to get their season started really strong here at a really fast track. Cole Raz had a top 10 finish here last year in ARCA competition.
You see Jake Bowman, Jason Kitzmiller, they're going to be on the back row. And then some of the drivers that had to fall back on provisionals after not being in the top 32 at times, including drivers like Michael Maples, Ed Papa, and more. Huge field of cars attempted to make this race, so much so that 10 did not qualify throughout the group session that was held yesterday. Again, these drivers were not able to be in the top 32, including the driver who won this race just 2 years ago, Greg Van Alst, and several others.
Wow.
Well, we've got a lot of unique vantage points to go through this 80-lap race, including our suit chief on board with Gio Ruggiero and the JGR number 18.
We're also going to ride along with Jack when we just talked about Jack a moment ago. This is the General Tire on board.
Also going to hitch a ride with Cletus. He's got our Kinetic on board, starting in row number 5.
Then last on board, Isabella Robusto with the Bounty on board, and these guys are all going to be really, guys and girls are going to be really fun to watch.
This race every year provides so much entertainment and for so much reason. On the heels of the Great American Race, the ARCA Menard Series competitors.
All right, pace car is going to be pulling onto pit road this time by. We're going to get this ARCA Menard season opener, the General Tire 200 at Daytona, underway shortly. Justine, the pole sitter. Alexi outside of row number 1 for this initial start. There's no choose rule in ARCA, but obviously on the front row, the leader can elect what lane he wants to restart in with the double file restart. So electing the top will be the start for the number 25. Great jump late in the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Daytona for the ARCA season opener. No push needed to try to get out in front of the pack and down in front of his teammate. Easily designed for Robusto to lay back. Let the veteran Justine down to the inside. Lead the field to the green. So we have just over a dozen cars in this lead pack with a lot more just kind of hanging out at the back for right now. We're going to get a halfway caution at lap 40 for refueling and changing of tires. You can change tires before the halfway mark, but you cannot fuel the race car until lap 40. One car got very loose in the bottom lane of the racetrack, about 7 or 8 rows deep. It's able to make a save off the exit of turn 4. We've seen a lot of crashes there already this weekend with the truck race last night. And usually in ARCA, we see a lot of loose race cars spin off of turn 4 as well in this very race. Daytime conditions, the track is going to have a lot less grip now than it would have during that truck race last night. So the pushing as well going to be very vital to make sure you're square to the car in front of you to not cause an incident. One car nearly stopped on the back straightaway just a couple of laps into this race, was struggling to complete the opening lap. That might bring out a caution. I mean, they were very slow and just creeping, but there was no yellow at that time. Mentioned already about Gustine leading the opening lap of the race. He still leads the field off the exit of turn 4, rumbling down to the start-finish line. And he's 2 for 2 in laps led to start the day. Looking to dominate, as it's a very methodical way to start this race with a lot of cars down around the inside line. Some contact at the very back of the pack. Cars just trying to get clear of one another. It looked like Jason Kitzmiller was trying to get going in the 97 and got squeezed up high, up near the wall. And he is riding all by himself, has since lost the draft. Hopefully he is able to stay on the lead lap before we see a caution. Top 5 in the running order at the end of the third lap has Gustine in the lead, Isabella Robusto in second, Daniel Dye third, Cletus McFarland fourth, and Gia Ruggiero rounding out the top 5 in fifth. 6 is Minnie Tyrell, along with Sean Core in 7th, Ryan Vargas 8th, AJ Moyer 9th, and Ryan Keneally rounds out the top 10. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in. Kind of 2 packs of cars right now. A breakaway of 7 cars. Then there's a bit of a gap before the 8th to 10th place cars. Another gap back to Jack Wood in 11th, who is on the outside lane and kind of double wide for 3 rows. There's 6 cars in the top 3 on the bottom in that second group, which is roughly 2.5 seconds or so off of the leader. Very spaced out to start things off. Finally got the names on our leaderboard to match with the driver number. Lap time, that last lap for the leader, 49.393. Giro Ruggiero in the middle of the pack ran at 49.395. A little bit off of the leader's time. Obviously, Gustine's got a lot of speed to qualify on the pole, and running the fastest lap time of any driver on the racetrack, it's going to be tough to make a move on him. With a teammate sitting in second place anyway of Isabella Robusto, I don't think she's looking to make a move right now anyway. Save, learn, and we'll see what goes on later on in the day. Already 5 laps in. Working lap 6. Mentioned about the tame start at the front of the pack. A couple of those packs that were running side by side a little bit further back, jostling for position. Definitely not staying well organized. Want to stay out of trouble at all cost. There are some faster cars who started very deep in the field who are trying to shoot their way forward, and one of them is Minnie Tyrell in the 17. Slides around. We have a spinner. Caution is out for the first time today. Did a great job keeping the car down on the apron well below the WL line and kept from coming back into traffic. Some cars swerving down to the bottom of the track, trying to bypass the slower cars that were on the inside. And in the midst of moving down, he went to move up in a secondary move to block and ended up spinning himself out. I don't think there was any contact off the front bumper of another car when he moved back up to make that block. I think he just flat out lost control of the car. Made too quick of an evasive maneuver at 180 plus miles an hour. The back of the car came around on him. Both of his rear tires are flat after the slide, and unfortunately he is going to be beached on the back straightaway until he can get assistance back to pit road. So the rookie Tyrell going around for a spin. Running in the race last night for Dodge Ram, ends up spinning for our first caution of the day, 5 laps in. Hopefully quick cleanup, knowing it was a single car incident once they get that car back to pit road. And then pit road will open for the rest of the field if they so choose to come down. 5 laps in, I don't think we're going to see many pit stops though. Especially for the leaders, and you can't take fuel in ARCA until halfway, so I don't expect anybody to come down for fuel either. Due to inclement weather, the race has been moved up tomorrow. Let me see. I haven't seen anything about that. Let me go on to NASCAR.com. Is this new news that is breaking during the stream? I'm surprised they haven't stated on the broadcast yet if that is the case. Gonna log out of NASCAR.com. I just want to make sure this is an accurate. Oh yeah, it has been moved up. Start time is now at 1:30 Eastern. So the race has been moved up about an hour and 20 minutes to 1:30 p.m. Eastern. But breaking news on the channel. Well, we're going to have to go live a little bit before that. Our original start time was supposed to be 1:30, but if the race is starting at 1:30, we're going to have to move that up to about 12:30. Oh. Just saw it on Twitter that it got moved up. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm glad we have the comment section here. So they stated 1:30 on the broadcast down at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. But that is not for the pre-race like originally it was supposed to be. So again, we are going to have to move our start time up an hour as well. I'll have to put a community tab post out there. After this race is over. I guess there might have been a little bit of side-to-side contact with 17 of Mini Tyrell.
That's not a move you've done all weekend, and obviously a lack of experience there. But like I said before, kind of bolt some tires on it, and you know, hopefully get back on the lead lap, and he should be able to go back out and race and probably have a bit more in the notebook as far as what he can and can't do with the car.
And that's in excess of 180 miles an hour while he's trying to switch 3 lanes like that quick. So it's fortunate he didn't make any contact with anything. He has a lot of flat tires though, and that as that car's being pushed back to pit road.
So Tyrell will get a chance to get a new tire put on that car and rejoin the race. This caution gives a chance for the field to come back together after what was a very staggered start with a couple of cars across the midfield. And as Minnie gets back to his pit area, this is a tremendous story about the young driver out of Virginia. He won the Ram Race for the Seat competition, along with several other short track and motorsport stars that were all yearning for the opportunity to compete full-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series with Ram. Minnie got that shot and had a solid start to the season. He actually ran quite well at Daytona last night and came home with a top 20 finish, 19th there.
Yeah, and he's one of the guys that you know a lot about. Came from the Cars Tour, multi-time winner last year alone in the Cars Tour. So there was a lot of competition in that, and a lot of competition for that seat, and Minnie came out on top.
Minnie still plans to run about 6 to 8 of those late model stock races in 2026, along with his full-time obligation now with the Ram teams. We're a lap away from the restart, and it seems as though we may see something that we saw on the initial start between these two Nitro Motorsports teammates.
Yeah, typically we call that a teammate restart, where you know the 25 car, which is chosen the outside once again, like the initial start, decides to go early and then jump down in front of his teammate and be able to have more control of the race, but also be able to understand, you know, where the pushes are coming from, being able to trust your teammate. That's all very important. But as we saw that outside lane of other nitro cars come up through the field, we're starting to get more and more of the fastest cars towards the front. And I don't think we're going to see much of that single file as much as far as those guys continue to push to get drive position.
Yeah, and all the talk in the garage here is how do we combat that 6-car nitro juggernaut? And like the 18 of Gio Ruggiero is also a Toyota, but they don't really necessarily subscribe to the same philosophy. But they have other teams they work with, like Jack Wood and the 77 of Taylor Reimer from PRG. They work well together with them. So it's going to be interesting now, as you mentioned. Really, all the fast cars now are within contact of the front.
So getting set to wrap up our first caution of the race. It'll be 71 laps to go. We can expect a scheduled caution on or around lap 40 in this race. The only time that we will see something of that nature as Gustine brings us back to green.
Yeah, the scene there is organized. You see Gustine's actually trying to get down. Plays McFarland going for the lead, top of 3 wide on this restart. That was definitely mismanaged by those 2 Nitro cars, and it's definitely sent Gustine, all the way through the center of the field.
I think Daniel Dye was pushing Isabella, and that's why there wasn't enough room for Gus to get in. But you mentioned now he is falling back.
Daniel Dye is one of the more experienced drivers in this race. Between Daniel Dye and Gio Ruggiero behind him, it's the way you combat that tactic, and I think the inexperience and lack of execution by the front row really benefited Daniel Dye in that inside lane.
And we heard from Alex earlier, Daniel was aware of the fact that they were going to have to do something to break up that Nitro Motorsports tandem. And
Oh boy.
Sean Corr has a moment.
Corr got so loose off turn 4.
That's supposed to be a carbon copy of tradition.
Jeez.
Talked about that, and I'm sure that's what the plan was. But again, I think Daniel Dye said, we're not going to have that plan. I'm going to make sure because Isabella had to physically slow down to allow Gustine to get in, and Daniel Dye said, no, I don't think so.
Well, now that John Isabella's changed, she was thinking about the whole time being the second car in line, and now she's listening to all the information coming from her spotters, how to manage, because there isn't any trust from the cars from behind her, understanding where those runs are going to come from and where to block them and what to do. So the ability to understand what's coming. And you see this restart here where Gustine gets the jump, and then they realize they're not clear. You can't get Gustine down, so Isabella tries to ride the brake, but she's getting pushed from behind from Daniel Dye. Meanwhile, Gustine can't get down, gets stuck in the middle, and Cletus reads this perfectly, able to get the track position. Now he's in charge of the outside lane, being able to challenge for the lead.
First career laps led for Isabella Robusto, as you mentioned, trying to become the first woman to win an ARCA Menard Series competition ever in series history. And for more on the 55, we'll go to Caitlin.
Yeah, Eric, Isabella, I had a chance to talk with her earlier. She seems very confident going into the season. She told me a year ago they didn't really have a good start to the season, which put them behind. But this year, she says, I feel like it's a very different story. I'm very optimistic about the team that she is with. She has Glenn Parker on top of the pit box, who she said she's known for a long time since she was just 11 years old working on her legend car Endeavor. But she felt good about the speed she saw in qualifying, being ahead of the mess, she said. One of the drivers, of course, vying for that title this season, Eric.
And she's doing a great job right now, controlling the field with Cletus McFarland, the first car to the outside of the 30, trying to make some headway there in that top group. And Daniel Dye, for now, staying committed with Robusto on the bottom. You're on board with Cletus.
Cletus is doing a nice job here managing that outside line. He has Jack Wood behind him. He has a good pusher. They're maintaining the gap to that inside line.
Yeah, if anything, they've kind of made up a row a lap here. So if you're a guy like Daniel Dye, you're thinking to yourself, should I cover this run? Should I not cover this run? Get the information from the spotter. Right here, you could maybe make the jump, but he seems to be fairly content at the moment to ride on this inside lane. As you see, the field still fairly organized. We've seen some moments already for some cars on return 4, and I think that's just going to continue to grow and get worse as you see kind of the ebb and flow, the left and right of cars off that corner as they're starting to handle it.
So far, McFarland not able to tow that line up any further than Gio Ruggiero in the 18, who's on the bottom of the racetrack. And what is still a side-by-side fight for third.
Let's give a call to Sean Corr. You see the black and yellow number 8. Sean has had his best career finish here at Daytona. He's run this race a number of times. He's a former pole sitter here, doing a nice job again today.
And you see some of that snaking around from the bottom lane and in the outside lane. You got Jack Wood who's being able to get that side drive to pull that out, that inside lane back. And that's what you're going to have to do in that situation. I mean, the inside lane's the shortest distance around, but as they might maybe struggle with handling, but you have to be really aggressive with that side drive.
Sean Corr has been so loose off turn.
Hang on the back of that 8 car.
Sean able to catch it again off of turn 4, but definitely being made aware of how difficult that car is on corner exit. Whoa, a big push to Robusto there by Daniel Dye.
Yeah, that was a great job of hanging on to that car. And as you get going, whether if it's first time leading laps here at Daytona or if you're Daniel Dye, maybe not used to driving these cars every week, where can you push on that bumper? Because drafting style racing, you aren't going to have to use the bumper to make way forward. As you see Sean Corrigan off the bottom lane, I think he's tired of having that moment. I think that's a smart move for him. It's a safer move. We got 66 laps to go. And that's obviously set up this outside lane now as you see kind of a 3-car breakaway in front.
See Gus Dean on the 25, who led early on, lost that lead on that restart. Now tucks in behind Gio. Goes in that 25 car.
And now, Garrett Winchell, Cletus McFarland in that 30, he decides that instead of trying to push Sean Core, he wants to get to the bottom line.
Yeah, it's very important for whoever is leading a lane for that to be a fast car, and obviously those guys, definitely devoted themselves a few rows by staying behind that 8, and I think that was a good move to be able to get down for Cletus. You still see some tail wagging down the back straight of here. A lot of pushes here by some of these drivers and up in the front in this breakaway.
Top 5 cars trying to break away with Isabella Robusto at the head of the pack over Daniel Dye, Gio Ruggiero, Gus Dean, and Cletus McFarland. General Tire 200 at Daytona.
All right, we'll go through the full field running order as we complete lap 16 of 80 in today's ARCA Menards Series opener. Isabella Robusto out in front of the field right now, leading at the Daytona International Speedway with Daniel Dye in second, Gio Ruggiero third, Gus Dean fourth, and Garrett Mitchell, a.k.a. Cletus McFarland, rounding out the top 5. In 6th is Jake Bullman, along with Jake Finch in 7th, Ryan Vargas 8th, Jack Wood 9th, and Sean Core rounding out the top 10. Wesley Slimp in 11th, 12th is Tim Richmond, Thomas Nunziata 13th, Taylor Reimer in 14th, and Andy Jane Kowiak in 15th. Jason Kitzmiller 16th, Cole Raz 17th, Glenn Reen 18th, Robbie Keneally 19th, and Bryce Applegate rounding out the top 20. AJ Moyer in 21st, Bobby Earnhardt in 22nd, 23rd is Eric Caudell, Ali Owens 24th, Charles Weslowski in 25th. Bryce Hogberg in 26th, Derek White 27th, Caleb Costner 28th, Ed Pompa 29th, and Michael Maples 30th. Willie Mullins in 31st, Takuma Koga 32nd, Hunter Dechtel 33rd, Brian Dozit 34th, and Alex Clubb 35th. Presley Sora 36th, Con Nicolopoulos in 37th, Brad Smith 38th, Minnie Tyrell 39th, and Ryan Huff 40th. Huff was the driver who nearly stalled on the backstretch. He failed to complete a lap. Tyrell is 11 laps down. I'm not sure if he has re-entered the track. I believe lap 6 was when he spun, so he may be out of the race as well. They've had quite a bit of damage to the back of the race car, having both of those rear tires. Looks like, I can't tell if that is green or yellow on my, it looks like we may be under caution. Don't quote me on that. My color blindness is taking over. Usually it says caution on NASCAR.com, but this has the flags displayed. It looks like a yellow, but I can't tell. Chat, you're going to have to help me out. Helping out the guy doing the commentary. Patrick Shadley, Garrett B, thanks for tuning in. Brakes on your sister-in-law's car. Smoking pork butt for tonight. Let's go racing. My grandpa said something about smoking a brisket for the 500 tomorrow, so that'll be pretty good to taste after the race is over. Lap time was 51 seconds that last time by, and I would like to think that was because of a caution right as they were about to come back to the start-finish line. Yes, we are under caution. I was correct.
Problem for one of the Nitro Motorsports cars in the field on the back straightaway. That's been the trouble spot. It was Wesley Slimp in the 90. He was running 23rd at the time.
They're going around the lap car. Brad Smith, that's his teammate, Thomas Annunziato. The 70 to his outside.
You see that the lettering is already off the tire. He knows he has a problem. He pulls down to the bottom. This left rear tire is going to end up going flat.
That's with the lettering gone, he probably rubbed up against somebody at some point. Fortunately, no contact. He's one of the 10 drivers that we talked about that have never made a start here at Daytona. Let's see if we can see where that contact came from. Is there going to be
Yeah, he just starts to see the tail wag. He knows he has an issue, but there's some pretty big bumps down there.
Wow.
Get air.
Wow.
And it's got to go through the road course, La Manche chicane there for the Rolex 24. And yeah, you see that tire's kind of already halfway down. A lot of the lettering you can see rubbed off. You see general tire there, no lettering, and lucky not to come back up on the track in front of the other car.
And you see the roof flap just deploy as well as the hood flaps too. That keeps that car down on the ground, and they did their job.
Second caution of the race, second for cause, second for a single car spin on the backstretch. for the driver who hails out of Marietta, Georgia, making his ARCA Menard Series debut after running in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series before. Little bit of action happening down on the pit lane and the 90 camp. More happening down on the pit lane. Go down to Caitlin.
Well, Eric, Cup Series star Carson Hocevar is here watching Cletus McFarland today, supporting him. What do you think of the run he's had so far? Pretty respectable, right?
Hey, he's doing good. He called me out yesterday in the truck race, and I told him he asked for advice. I didn't really have any because I'm not that great a super speedway racer. Other than if you cause a crash, you're not going to be a part of it most of the time. Is how it worked. But apparently, I didn't specify you can't. You got to do it with your front bumper and not just yourself and cause it yourself. So he's doing himself a good job. He's running fit. He's going to be lined up on the bottom and. Hopefully be able to pass the cars here. He would deliver it better if he was standing here, saying he's flying like a bald eagle and freedom and, all that good stuff and, hell yeah and stuff like that. But he's looking good. I dialed him up in a Chevy here, yesterday, but hopefully he can run good in this 30 car and, maybe at least lead a lap. I think that'd be really cool for him. And I just enjoy watching it. He doesn't have a lot of experience, and when he lapped, we could trick him on anything. Ricky, I think, tricked him that he was in third gear, and that's why he didn't qualify good. So, he'll believe anything we tell, and but it's fun to watch these guys. He's obviously got racecraft and a little bit of a good idea of handling different types of race cars. So it's fun to see him out here and enjoying it. But I get to take for granted, but he doesn't know his stuff. We just laugh about jokes. So it's always a good time watching it.
Well, thanks for being here, Carson Hocevar, one of the guys giving some insight there for Cletus McFarland in this race, guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. Cletus still running in the top 5, and that's going to shuffle up right here. But Phil, this was something we mentioned earlier before we came on air. Some of the strategy of these race teams, based on how long this race is, this is a big move by these teams.
Yeah, they'd say about 25 was the lap that most of the people in the garage area were talking about being able to make it the rest of the way. But I think right now these guys are just hedging their bet. They obviously have the option to come in at the break around lap 40, but I think it's a good move now. Put some tires on. Remember, these are non-competitive pit stops. The way these cars came on pit road is the way they will leave pit road, so they do not lose any positions on pit road.
And we can see the Nitro Motorsports camp is in lockstep formation with the cars that have been able to avoid trouble. Jake Ballman, who's done a great job coming up through the field. And I guess objective number 1 is going to be stay out of trouble until the cars that elected to stay out this time decide they're going to come back in.
And they know they're all fast cars, and they're going to get lined up with those teammates, these Nitro teammates. And so I think they'll have no problem making their way back towards the front.
60 laps to go in the General Tire 200. Daniel Dye, hometown kid, inherits the lead after Wesley Smith goes for a big slide on the backstretch. Restart coming up.
All right, so a select handful from the top portion of the field come into pit road to change tires for the first time. Some elect to stay out on those initial tires they had and keep their track position for now. We're guaranteed a halfway caution at lap 40, which is where the teams can refuel and make it to the end from there on gas. But some may be taking the tires now, so that way they just go gas and go only later and try to leapfrog. As you heard from Phil Parsons on the broadcast, that these are non-competitive pit stops. Long ways to go in the ARCA season opener, the General Tire 200 at Daytona. We'll take our first break as we're a quarter of the way home. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage. Our leaderboard's going to update when the top 10 get to the start-finish line for the first time. Keep an eye on the 8 car of Sean Core. He has had a handful with his race car, and I don't think he came to pit road during this caution, so no adjustments are going to be made. He was very loose multiple times off turn 4, was barely able to catch his car. Both times were when he was running the bottom of the racetrack, so having to open that wheel up a little bit sooner, he went to the outside, where he had more of an ability to do so. Nobody was to his outside. If something bad happened, it would just be a single car incident was probably the hope there. So that keeping from potentially wrecking against the inside wall. which is why I'm surprised he didn't come to pit road. Daniel Dye has consumed the race lead under caution with the leader Isabella Robusto coming in for her pit stop. We've had 3 different leaders so far. Gustine, the first handful of laps. Robusto took the lead on that last restart, and now under the caution, Daniel Dye steps out in front for the first time today.
Fox, Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, and Pato Award lead the way into the 2026 IndyCar season, launching in St. Petersburg, Florida, March 1st, live on Fox. And thanks to Mother Nature, we don't have to wait too much longer to kick off the NASCAR Cup Series season. Due to Mother Nature threatening in the later hours tomorrow, we've moved up race day to 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and the Daytona 500 will go green at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
Hey, why don't we send the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series up there to they're down there to St. Petersburg to race with the Indy cars?
That sounds like a great idea.
I'm so jealous of those guys. I love that racetrack, and I love that we moved up the start time. I want to get all 500 miles in tomorrow. It's gonna be a fun day. It's been a long week here for everyone, and there's nothing really cooler than seeing it all happen here in Daytona.
Well, they've added a lap to this caution after 13 cars came down to the pit lane. One driver who's moved up into the top 10, our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver. Someone who's been very impressive in just about everything she does for the first time. Taylor Reimer making her super speedway debut in ARCA.
Yeah, really talented, essentially an open wheel driver. Took several years off and went to University of Oklahoma. She was a cheerleader there. Got back into racing after college. Really does a nice job. Won national midget races, but getting her feet wet here in a stock car and really doing a nice job. She won in the late models back in North Carolina, which is pretty darn tough to do.
Taylor driving another one of those Pinnacle Racing Group entries in the field. For more on Taylor, here's Caitlin.
Yeah, and Eric, I've been scanning her radio, obviously listening in, getting some feedback from her spotter, Brandon Wilkinson, telling her just keep working on making slow movements. If something is happening around you, just react slowly like we talked about. So getting some guidance there as she's making this first start here at Daytona, guys.
I think that's great advice, and that's what we saw with that first caution with me Tyrrell doing that loop there on the back straightaway. Those fast movements, at these speeds with these cars, they just don't understand, how to have the grip. And we see Corey Heim looking on. He'll be racing on Sunday against me and everybody else in the field, and they obviously have a pretty close relationship, and obviously this weekend a close working relationship.
Yeah, Corey had a pretty good season on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series last year.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, what an amazing job he did last year. And really, ever since he came into the Truck Series.
So Reimer is going to restart in the top 10 after, again, 13 cars, including the drivers who led the opening stanza of this race. Isabella Robusto and Gustine, who started on the front row, they elected to come down and put fuel in their cars on the caution that came out on lap 20. Daniel Dye is now the leader. Before we go green, we'll go down to Alex.
Yeah, guys, an interesting little nugget that I'm hearing across several radios, scanners as I listen in, is that including the 3 leaders up front, but throughout the field, drivers are wanting to avoid working with Cletus McFarland. They say he's too dangerous and too movie and squirrely on these super speedways. So an interesting nugget that we're trying to avoid one specific driver on the racetrack.
There's going to be about 4.5 million fans of Cletus that are not going to be happy with whoever's relaying that information.
That's a tough take.
Alex wants to not mention names.
Yeah, there is some truth to having to really represent yourself well and keep the car straight. I know Cletus wants to do that today.
Cletus is going to restart on the inside of the second row.
I would say that the 8 of Sean Corr has been a lot more jumpy with his race car than what I've seen out of Cletus McFarland, but I wonder if there was some hesitancy because of what may have happened last night going into the race today with the driver, the number 30. Green flag is back in the air. Daniel Dye elected the outside of row 1 for the restart, hops down in front of the 18 of Gio Ruggiero, headed into turns 1 and 2. He's got about a car length and a half, maybe even more than that of a gap back to the second place cars who are running side by side. Ryan Vargas trying to lead the charge up high with Sean Corr in the 8 right behind him. Isabella Robusto trying to lead a line up on the very outside of the racetrack near the wall, getting to this green flag. Robusto pitted from the lead just before the caution, and I believe her teammate of Gus Dean right there behind her after Dean had qualified on the pole and led the very early laps of this race. We'll see if they try to make it 3 wide along the top here shortly. Headed for the start-finish line. Still 56 laps to go. Lap 25 at Daytona.
Side. Here they come. If there's a lane open to the top, they're going to take it.
Yep, there they go, 3 wide.
You get this 3 wide scenario. It's one of these drivers tries to block it and it's unsuccessful. This 3 wide usually ends up putting 1 lane. Typically,
Oh, there's contact.
And you see it really close off the corner. He's up to speed laps and usually ends up hurting this outside lane. So you see another driver jump up in front of it. It's gonna be tight on corner entry.
Let's go Raz, the 76 car said, hey, here they come. And I'm sure the spotter said, here come the nitro cars, jump up in front of them to get that push.
They really did park those nitro cars, and they're gonna have a decision to make. And you see another car jump up in front, and
That was
Wow.
again, this has now separated those cars. You see them now 2 wide and really indecisive on where to be. Meanwhile, Daniel Dye is getting that lead extended here on the bottom. 0-0.
Sean Corr's car still dancing.
Here as well. That outside lane starting to break apart as it's trying to get settled.
Sean Core, the block number 8 now, was up in front of that 3rd line.
And Core's car has not been the most stable when being pushed, as we see what happened in the trial between Raz and Robusto.
Yeah, that's just way too late of a block and really bad time. We're lucky that wasn't a wreck. You see Gus Dean kind of take evasive action just not to run in the back of his teammate.
Now we got 3 cars that have broken away from what is 3 wide and 3x3 action off the 4th corner. Jack Wood on the inside, Vargas in the middle, Core top side of that pack.
Now, I'm not sure that 3 cars up there break away, even though these cars are 3 wide. You see now that Jack Wood's been able to get out in front of that. Sean Core's going to try to get, he's going to try to pull that to get inside of that hole right in front of the 27 of Tim Richmond.
And all this racing is just letting those leaders further and further away. And it's what you love to see as a leader, and it's what you hate to see if you're one of these cars in this scrum here. And obviously the numbers for Nitro are still somewhat in the outside lane here in this 3rd lane, and you only got 2 cars now. 1 car left. Michael, it's kind of put in a tough spot. He was leading the race here moments ago, and now we're still in the middle, falling back.
Sterling Weimer, the 77 car on the inside of Gus Dean, our pole sitter. Sean Core's
Still struggling off of turn 4.
struggling off of turn 4, had to move up the racetrack. Fortunately, Gus gave him a spot to get in. There's Jake Finch, the 15 on the inside. He's again one of those nitro cars. The Phoenix Construction Toyota.
Just like that, all that racing, all that indecisiveness is really singled out this field because guys don't want to lose strength in their teams. They want to be able to understand how to get closer, how to get back in the game. And also the side by side with 53 laps to go. That's not safe for your car. I mean, they're 3 wide for several laps, kind of hanging on to the car, seeing the tails wagging. So I think this is recent to now. Kind of looking for after some of those tight moments we saw.
Now, just behind the second side-by-side battle between the 97 of Kitzmiller and the 76 of Cole Raz is the 68 car with the Ford nose. That's Allie Owens making her return to ARCA competition for the first time in 16 years. A lot's changed since then, including becoming a mother to her 2 daughters. This was an objective that she set forth to return to racing, to get back into the cockpit of a race car. A lot of help from Will Kimmel has made that possible, and she's having a great run so far this afternoon.
That's one of my favorite things about this ARCA Menard series is that you get stories like this that you don't necessarily see in other sports, and it's fun to watch, and I'm sure she wants to just get out there and compete. That's why we come back. Daytona is so big, and it's cool to see her kind of work her way up in the field. You know, we talk about this being a developmental series for NASCAR, but it's also a series that you play for the love of the game.
Absolutely.
That's Allie Owens.
Daniel Dye, still the leader in what has been a very intense General Tire 200 and season opener for the ARCA Menard Series.
Cutting a commercial break right now on Fox for the ARCA Menard Series opener at Daytona. Daniel Dye continues to lead with Gio Ruggiero in 2nd, Garrett Mitchell in 3rd, Jack Wood 4th, and Tim Richmond rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Isabella Robusto is in 6th, Jake Bullman in 7th, Sean Core 8th, Taylor Reimer in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Jake Finch. Gustine in 11th. 12th is Jason Kitts-Miller. Cole Raz in 13th. Allie Owens 14th. Thomas Annunziata 15th. Ryan Vargas 16th. Glenn Reen 17th. Andy Jankowiak 18th. 19th is Bryce Applegate. And AJ Moyer rounds out the top 20. Robbie Keneally in 21st. Bobby Earnhardt 22nd. Caleb Costner 23rd. Ed Papa 24th. And Michael Maples in 25th. Eric Caudell in 26th. Bryce Hogberg in 27th. Hunter Dechtel 28th. 29th Brian Dozet. And Charles Waslowski in 30th. Dozet now falls to 31st. Presley Soares in 30th. Waslowski now back to 32nd. Then Takuma Koga in 33rd. Con Nicolopoulos in 34th. Alex Clubb in 35th. Brad Smith 36th. Wesley Slint 37th. Derek White 38th. 39th for Timothy Tyrell. And Ryan Huff rounds out our 40-car field. Huff was not able to complete that opening lap of the race. Tyrell 11 laps down, but back on the racetrack, or at least was for a short bit. May have pulled back into the garage area. Derek White 3 laps down on track. Wesley Slip a lap down. 36 of the 40 cars that started are on the lead lap. 32 laps complete out of 80. You're listening live to the General Tire 200 ARCA season opener. AJ Summers, welcome back. Happy Valentine's Day as well to many of you watching. All of you watching, not just many. Thanks for tuning in on this early Saturday afternoon, our first of 2 live commentary streams of the day. We are going to be live later for the O'Reilly Auto Parts season opener. Wade, welcome to the stream also. Went to the Griffins game last night. It was so fun. Appreciate it. Appreciate you tuning in, and glad you had a great time at the game. Sounds like they won. They've been doing a lot of winning this season from what I've seen. All right, they are back in Daytona. Again, we're supposed to get a caution at lap 40, which would be the halfway yellow and the ability to take tires and fuel, and we're about 7 laps away from that point. Single file line amongst the top 6 positions. 7th and 8th trying to hang on to that lead pack. 3 rows of double wide just outside of the top 8. Rounding out the rest of this lead pack entirely. Isabella Robusto had her loose moment off of turn 4 a couple laps ago. Clipped the apron. Had to make another save after getting loose initially. 20 car just behind her at the time, able to move up out of the way and keep from running over her teammate. That was Jake Bowman. Could have been a disastrous situation that could have taken out 2 of the Nitro cars in one incident. Same corner. Pre-race show is early tomorrow. Yes, it is. Yeah, drop of the green flag has been moved up, so our stream start time will be moved up as well. I'm going to put a community tab post on that as soon as the stream's done, so that way those of you that may forget or are not watching now live will know the start time of our stream for tomorrow, which will be 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I said 12:30 initially. I'm going to move it to 1 because the drop of the green flag's not till 2:13. I'm not going to go live an hour and 40 minutes before the drop of the green flag, so we'll go live about an hour before 1 p.m. Eastern, which is about what we were going to do beforehand. We were supposed to start at 1:30, which was going to be roughly an hour before the start of the race. So then moving the start time up, we're going to move our start time up about a half hour as well. Want to get through the full elongated pre-race for the Daytona 500 well before the start of the race itself. Leaders running 49.1s up at the front of the field with Daniel Dye up in front. I believe that is quicker of a lap time than what they were running when Gustine and Isabella Robusto of the 2 Nitro cars are running. So Dye's definitely got some speed underneath the 24. Gio Ruggiero hanging right in there with him. William Sawalich was in the 18 last season and dominated this race by way of lap sled, was unable to get the win for Joe Gibbs Racing. So we'll see if JGR is going to be able to get the win today with Ruggiero behind the wheel. He's been a great super speedway racer in the truck series, second in the season opener at Daytona last year, second this year, and he won the fall Talladega race last season as well, his first career truck win. It's a pretty good record going for him. Had a near shot to win last night's race on the final lap as well. Right, headed to the tri-oval, lap 37 at the line.
You can't see anything out the windshield. He's another one who straps like Daniel Dye, doing triple duty. He will also race this afternoon in the O'Reilly Series.
Well, 2 starts he's going to make in that series before Brent Cruz gets the nod to jump in that 18 car in the O'Reilly Series. Gio running in that second spot. That car and that team, the Joe Gibbs Racing team, has finished second in 2 of the last 3 races here, but has never won a super speedway race in ARCA. Gio trying to be the first one to do it.
He's in a great spot by now just to hold that. Talk about his experience last year in the truck series. That big win at Talladega, and he finished second here at Daytona in the truck series.
Well, I think you also look at this top 4. These are definitely most experienced drivers in the field. Daniel Dye, Gio Ruggiero, Jack Wood, Gustine. These guys are all, I've seen it, done it before. As you see the first real move for position, this is where you're going to see those teammate alliances come in as they all go out to the outside and cruise control. These are all Nitro Motorsports cars. And you see another Nitro Motorsports car, Gustine, pick this run up as well. They're going to pull through, and now these leaders, all on different teams, are going to have to understand what they want to do. Is there a loyalty built up between Gio Ruggiero and Jack Wood, Daniel Dye? So Jack Wood covering this run as well from the Nitro cars. And Gustine wants around these guys. They want to get to the front. And now we see a bit of a disagreement. And Nunziata on the inside of Gustine. Leaders were good to be able to break that up. And now these Nitro cars are going to have to reform. But really, the big loser on that is Cletus. He's kind of stuck in the middle of the field now. He's kind of relegated to the bottom of this group. And they see a big save off the bottom of turn 4 once again from Nunziata.
That sure seems like a trouble spot, doesn't it? Right off the turn 4 for the banking points out.
I mean, the trouble spot in every single race division this weekend. We'll see it on Sunday as well.
Well, this pack continues to tussle about. Here's a look at a beautiful car. Hard to come to Daytona without thinking of the name Earnhardt. Here is Bobby Dale Earnhardt. He's a 4th-generation driver. He's the oldest son of Kerry Earnhardt and the older brother of Jeffrey Earnhardt. And the trend continues with him working with Tim Boulay in this number 89 team, new number. They've worked together before, and that is a great-looking race car.
I was talking to Bobby down in the garage area yesterday, and he said, I've waited my whole life for an opportunity to run the full schedule. He doesn't have that much racing experience. The ARCA series used to have a truck series, and he raced in that a little bit, but so excited about 2026.
And as we come to the conclusion of lap number 39 with 41 laps to go, caution flag is going to fly. And we understand it is for a car that is stationary on the back straightaway. This caution coming very close to what we expected to be the controlled caution period that the teams knew about. But Caleb Costner has rolled to a stop right about where the bus stop chicane is for the sports car course. A bit well off of the racing line, but still in harm's way.
Yeah, the ARC officials have already said this will be the race break. So every one of these teams will have the opportunity to come down pit road and do whatever service they may want to do. Again, they will keep their positions as long as they don't have a penalty or get lapped by the pace car.
So while the safety crew works to retrieve the number 93 car, we'll step aside. Daniel Dye still out in front as we are halfway home at the General Tire 200 at Daytona.
This caution coming out only 1 lap before we were supposed to see the competition caution at lap 40 at halfway. And I would assume that this is going to run into being the competition yellow. Our 3rd caution of the race, all for incident or some kind of stoppage. All of which have been on the back straightaway with a couple of spins. And now in this situation, we have a stallage for the 93 of Caleb Costner. Daniel Dye, the leader. Gio Ruggiero in 2nd. Thomas Annunziata 3rd. Jack Wood 4th. Gustine in 5th. That is your top 5. I'm not going to go through the full field running order right now because we're about to have pit stops. And that's going to jumble things up for a bit. So again, this is our 3rd caution of the race. We're halfway home in the ARCA Menards season opener at Daytona. You're listening live on KRC. Quite a long ways to go yet in this one. It should be the halfway caution. Yeah, it probably is going to be. It wouldn't make any sense for them to restart for a lap or two and then have a halfway caution past halfway at this point. Same thing NASCAR would do. Usually when you see like practice and qualifying rained out the day before a race and they have a competition caution at like lap 25 or 30, whatever it is, depending on the size of the racetrack, and caution comes out within a couple laps of it, they'll have that competition yellow during that said caution. Or sometimes if there's an early enough yellow in the race, they'll move it back a bit. That's a little different from the halfway caution in ARCA because that's just a thing everywhere they go, because there are no live and competitive pit stops in this series. Don't have the resources necessary to be able to do that on a week-to-week basis. How small these teams are now. 41 likes on the stream. Appreciate everybody hitting that like button. It's ARCA race today. At least get to 50 as our goal for this one. And we've got pit stops.
Stars. And by Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Pit road is a busy place with 39 laps to go. Time to take a look at our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race report. And we have had, so far, 4 different leaders in this race unofficially. Daniel Dye, the current pace setter at the time of his caution. 32 cars remain on the lead lap. We've had 3 yellows, 2 single-car spins on the backstretch, and a most recent one for Caleb Costner rolling to a stop to draw yellow number 3.
Yeah, I think this restart is going to be really interesting because all the nitro cars, everybody that pitted on that earlier caution now have made their way back up in touch with the leaders. So I think business is really going to pick up here.
Well, I also think the start of this race was fairly calm too. I mean, we saw a few single car incidents, but a lot of drivers still being able to race smart in the front of the field, and that intensity is just going to keep ramping up as we get closer to that one flag lap.
Couple of cars starting to make their way back out to the racetrack. We will re-rack the field and roll to the finish of the season opening round of the ARCA Menard Series 2026. Lake Lloyd is a busy place on this beautiful Saturday afternoon.
All righty. Thomas Roth, thanks for tuning in. Don't even watch the series. Still dropping the thumbs up. Doom scrolling. Great truck race, Keegan. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning back in anyway. Hopefully see you for the O'Reilly race a little bit later on today. So our light goal for the ARCA race 50, we're at 46. We're almost to that goal. And our subscriber watch count is getting closer. 120 away from 7K. Much better race than last year's. Yeah, there were a lot of incidents, a lot of scary crashes in the first half of last year's ARCA Daytona opener. This year we've had 3 cautions in the first half of the race, but all single car incidents and really no major contact with cars or walls in any way, shape, or form, so that's good. Safe race so far, and with that being said, and the evenly spaced cautions that we have had, there are still quite a few cars on the lead lap. 31 cars are on the lead lap right now. Just past halfway in Daytona. Are we good, Rich? Thanks for tuning in. Like the stream so we can surpass the goal and reset the bar. There we go. Endangered Sense, thanks for tuning in. Happened with Cletus. Turned it off a few minutes ago to go to the store. Came back. He's on pit road. Can't get the car jacked up or something. I think they're okay. They're not competitive pit stops in ARCA, so I would assume he's going to be able to keep his track position. I mean, it is showing him a lap down right now, but it's a little strange. I don't know. They're on commercial right now, so not entirely sure what might have happened there.
American race is moving
We'll
on
listen
now.
in.
Tomorrow. It doesn't get any bigger than this. The 60
Dragon, thanks for tuning in.
500 tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern, with pre-race coverage kicking off at 11:30 a.m. only on Fox. Things have calmed down a little bit on the pit lane, but a lot just took place with the majority of the field coming to the pit lane. For more as to what some of the teams may have done, we'll kick things off with Caitlin.
Yeah, taking a look at the 28 of Jack Wood. He says he needs a little bit of help in the pack. Now, he's obviously occupying the seat Brendan Queen had, working with Stephen Dawson, the crew chief who helped guide him to 8 wins and a title. He's also working with Derek Nealon, the spotter for Kyle Busch, who, of course, is sitting on the pole for the Daytona 500. Derek telling him, when we get to the end of this race and I tell you to make a move, you need to do it immediately. Alex?
Yeah, Caitlin, I'm keeping my eye on Daniel Dye, who's having such a strong run so far today. He came down pit road, and he is very content with his race car. Said that he's having a lot of fun out there leading some laps here at Daytona. He did ask for a water bottle and said that the day was a little hot. A tear off on the windshield so he could see a little bit better. But he did say he's liking working with the 18 of Gio Ruggiero, that they have found a good partnership, and he wants to do whatever he can to get back on the racetrack and headed towards the 18 for some teamwork.
Guys, one thing that's interesting to me is the fact we did have 2 cars that pitted earlier on lap number 20 stay out, and that is the 25 of Gustine and the 15 of Jake Finch. And if I'm Nitro, I like this strategy. Those are 2 Nitro cars. We also have 3 other Nitro cars that are still in contention that pitted that time. So if this race goes green the rest of the way, then those guys may be a little vulnerable, maybe a little close on fuel. Well, we know the other guys that just pitted aren't. For other cars, obviously, Isabella being one of those drivers.
And one other thing to consider, on super speedways and road courses, the overtime rules are different in the ARCA Menard series. Only one potential attempt. It's not like we have the risk of unlimited. It's just going to be one attempt at one lap. So you could be a little more aggressive with your math and your fuel numbers, because there's not going to be unlimited overtime in a race like this.
And those guys had an opportunity to weigh the gas cans to figure out exactly how much fuel mileage they got in that first 20 lap segment. So I think they have a pretty good idea where they are fuel mileage wise.
Here's a look at Andy Jankowiak, and we talked about him a lot in his part-time ARCA foray, and he's going to do the same thing here with the Kloss Motorsports team in 2026, but he races just about everything, including TQ midgets. How about 2 weeks ago, Atlantic City, Boardwalk Hall? You're going to find out where Andy is. Watch the green car, all back on a stack up.
Whoa! Oh my goodness!
Who landed on one of the newer protective barriers, and not only did it save him, but it saved the race car. They got this car back out in competition. Until unfortunately, he flipped it again.
Oh my gosh!
Here. Andy, of course, someone who races tour-type modifieds of CQ midgets and this ARCA car, and he has been so close to cracking through to victory lane. And he's having a great run here today as well in the top 15. And trouble for the number 55, one of the very potent Nitro Motorsports teams being pushed towards the garage. Caitlin, what's going on?
Yeah, Isabella told the team just a bit ago, when she's over 25% on throttle, the entire race car is shaking. She thinks it's the drive shaft. She's experiencing it in every gear right now. That's what she told the team.
What a horrible break. One of our championship contenders. The last thing she told me yesterday afternoon was, we really struggled in the first 5 races last year. Really struggled when there were huge fields and points really matter. Obviously, same thing's going to happen right here.
Unfortunate irony for Isabella, who was taken out just around the halfway point of this race last year after a crash on the back straightaway. And she is slowly being pushed towards the garage area. One of the full-time competitors hoping to win the ARCA title. With 36 to go at Daytona, her dreams of at least winning this race are dashed. Restart upcoming with Gustine, the leader.
Well, caution continues here at Daytona, where we will have to await the restart here. You know, and they have the extra laps with the halfway caution, plus the fact that this caution actually came out a lap or two before we were supposed to get the yellow at lap 40. Quite surprised that we're still under caution, to be completely honest. Roy Doggo, thanks for tuning in. Cletus keeps it clean. He'll get that lap back. It's been fast in the pack. Yeah, he's been top. I don't think he was really any worse than 7th place in this race the entire day. Qualified 5th. Great speed in that race car, even more so than last season, because I think last season he qualified around 10. So a top 5 starting spot. And yes, while he may be a lap down because of the jack braking, all he has to do is be the first car lap down at the timing of the next caution, and he's back on the lead lap. Laps are winding down relatively quick, especially under caution, though. So 35 laps to go. Definitely not a lot of time left in this race. But he's not out of it by any means. Toby Cat, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Robert, honestly, I didn't realize that you weren't a moderator yet, and no problem. You do a good job promoting the channel during these live streams, so I greatly appreciate that. Oh yeah, he can still win. And one of the competitors that would have been for the race when that led laps already qualified on the front row, Isabella Robusto, out with a mechanical failure. So opens the door up for others to try to take advantage of it that have been up towards the front of the field as well. So we went through the top 5 before the caution. Your top 5 coming to this restart after the pit stops. Gus Dean is in the lead. Jake Finch in 2nd. Daniel Dye in 3rd. Giro Ruggiero in 4th. And Thomas Annunziata in 5th.
Doing on the eve of the Daytona 500. This the season opener for the ARCA Menard Series, the General Tire 200. An opportunity to win at the World Center of Racing, still on the line with many potent competitors, but the task has just gotten more challenging for this driver.
Guys, remember we talked about non-competitive pit stops. Would hold your position as long as you don't get lapped on pit road or have a penalty. Unfortunately, we're hearing that the jack broke on Cletus's car when he was on pit road, lost a lap. Now he will have to try to hope for a free pass to get back on the lead lap to get back in contention. He's run up in the top 5 or 7 the entire race. You can see right now in the 30th spot, 1 lap down.
The unfortunate news for Cletus is he is not the only car 1 lap down. He's going to have to contest with AJ Moyer, along with the number 48 car, Brad Smith. The 03 of Alex Club, he will be hoping to get a quick yellow if he can put himself in that spot.
I think at 35 laps, we're going to have another caution.
It looks that way.
I'd count on it. I'd also count on these teammates to maybe try this restart again.
So Gus Dean, the only ARCA Daytona winner in the field today. When he won that day two years ago, he led only 2 laps en route to victory. Today, he's led 14 and counting. He's the control car on the bottom in the 25 as we get back underway with 34 to go.
So you get a better jump here. I think they bothered with doing the teammate restart there again because they weren't really in the race. But 0-0 give a great push to Jake Finch being able to contend for that lead and fight for the front of this race.
Perhaps one of the most orderly starts or restarts we've seen all afternoon long. This is about as tight of a pack that we've had with this number of cars trailing all the way towards the midfield.
There's 4 drivers in the field that have won races in the ARCA Menard Series, and they're all in the top 5 right now, so the cream does rise to the top.
Jake Finch, Florida native at a racetrack that means so much to him and his father, getting propelled to the front by a big push from Gio Ruggiero on the top side, and he decides to slide down low to the bottom.
Giro did a lot of the hard work to get them to the front of the field too, being able to pull that side draft, be able to get that, deliver that great push. But Jake Finch has a lot more comfort with his teammate behind him, rescuing.
33 laps to go at Daytona, 48 laps complete. Jake Finch is the race leader following the restart. Gio Ruggiero in 2nd. Gus Dean falls to 3rd. Jack Wood 4th, and Daniel Dye rounds out the top 5 in 5th. 6 is Jason Kitzmiller. Thomas Annunziata 7. Jake Bowman 8. Taylor Reimer in 9th. And Tim Richmond rounding out the top 10. 6 cars are left on the outside lane, drafting to try to keep themselves up towards the front of the field, while everybody else in the lead pack is all the way down around the bottom of the racetrack. Looking at the difference in lap time to see who is all in this lead pack. Looks like we've got 19 cars in the lead pack, with Bobby Dale Earnhardt, the last of which. I think Robusta was back on the racetrack and then slowly stalling back out towards the entrance of pit road. She'll be bringing that car back in again. It was in the garage for a quick fix. Definitely did not end up fixing whatever the issue was exactly. And they're going to have to re-diagnose it. We'll see if she'll get back out there. And she is full-time in ARCA this season. Will be competing for the championship as one of the front runners for that. So they're going to want to get as many points as they can out of this race and get her back out there as soon as possible. A little bit of bump drafting between the Nitro cars down at the bottom of the racetrack. Finch and Dean. Pole sitter Dean pushing Jake Finch out in front. He's got about 2 car lengths on the rest of the pack as he exits turn 4. The 18 car Giro Giro is the one who leads the outside lane in the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Bringing the 28 of Jack Wood with him. Wood driving the 28, which was driven last year by Butterbean Queen, en route to Butterbean getting a championship, a win in this race, and multiple, not only just multiple wins, double-digit wins in ARCA last season. Outside lane, despite having 6 cars, they move around a lot. They're not really staying tight in one line with one another, even down the straightaway, and they're not able to make the headway needed to get past the 2 Nitro cars down around the bottom of the racetrack that have had the speed to keep up and lead this pack. 30 laps to go at Daytona. And in that battle for the free pass position where Cletus McFarland is trying to be the first car lap down and then get to the next caution so he can get his lap back, he's currently still in 30th. AJ Moyer just ahead of him. Got to get into 29th place right now would be the first car 1 lap down. Also got to catch a caution or 2, and so far, we've been green on the restart for about 5 laps. Our longest green flag run of the day, I don't think has quite hit double digits on the lap counter, so I'd expect to see at least a few more before this race is over. At least 2 more. One of which being a mechanical failure. Can't necessarily count on the fact that it's going to be a crash that brings out the caution, but I don't think we're going to stay caution-free for the last 29 laps of this race. It's ARCA and it's Daytona. And there's 29 cars on the lead lap. And as far as cars on the racetrack itself right now, there's 33 of them that are still in this race. A lot of pushing with those top 2 cars. Both the Nitro cars of Dean and Finch working well together. Those pushes are really only coming down the back straightaway, nothing on the front stretch. For the exit of turn 4. It's amazing how many cars on that bottom line are kind of bobbing and weaving off the exit of the corner. Have just such great handling issues. So many cars have been getting loose in that area of the track. Hard to keep the momentum forward, stay on the gas, and keep your line moving. Oh, we got a car crash towards the back of the pack. This was off of the lead draft. The number 9, looks like in turns 3 and 4 has gone around and made contact with the outside wall. That would be Presley Sora, who was in 28th, was the last car in the lead lap. So, off of the lead draft, we have a caution. AJ Moyer was the first car lap down and will get the free pass, it looks like, in 29th. So, Cletus McFarland going to have to battle it out to the next yellow to try to get the lap back next go around. What time is the O'Reilly race? 5 p.m. today. 5 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live for the O'Reilly race. All right, looking to see if there was a spin against the wall in turn 1. It looked like it was just kind of a lazy spin down around the bottom of the racetrack. I saw some nose damage, but it was because of the splitter dragging on the apron while the rest of the race car was kind of up on the banking. Bent the splitter, bent the back bumper just a little bit because of it. Sliding around on the asphalt violently, but no contact with the wall. Not sure what caused that. I wonder if there was some sort of a mechanical issue that had that spin happen, because he was all by himself. No cars around him. It didn't look like any tires were down, like there might have been a flat that could have caused the loose action and result of that spin. Finch was in the lead at the time of the yellow. Gustine was in second. Giro rounds out the top three. We'll take a quick break while we're under yellow with 27 laps to go at Daytona. You're listening live on KRC. Fourth caution of the race. Trying to make the end of the race tonight. Yeah, you saying that you ended up getting... you're getting off at 7. I think the race will go a little bit longer than that, because the drop of the green flag isn't until like 5:20, so... Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get home. I don't know how long your commute is, but it'll be close. Ten minutes? Oh, yeah, you'll get home before the finish. Probably go to around 7:30 if I had to guess. Maybe a few minutes after. It depends on how many cautions there are. They kind of drag the race on a little bit longer. 300 miles, 120 laps. And the big one, the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 1 p.m. Eastern for the 500. So again, AJ Moyer gets the free pass.
After Presley Sora went around in turns 3 and 4. Wasn't that long ago since our good friend and pal had an opportunity to celebrate the biggest win in stock car racing. Austin, do you still remember this day like it was yesterday?
It feels like a long time ago, but I'd love to see the same scenes or similar scenes tomorrow night. Yeah, it's definitely the best day of my life, and it's every race a dream to come here and try and win this race, and having that opportunity every year is pretty special.
What is it about this kind of racing? Because you excelled at Talladega as well. For this kind of super speedway racing, what did you just immediately like this kind of racing, or just find yourself good?
Every time I strap into a fast Ford Mustang, and I know that sounds a little cheesy, but it is very important to have a fast race car. Our guys do an incredible job. Everybody, Team Penske. So, and on top of that, it takes great teamwork. And I have two of the best teammates. I mean, they're champions of the sport and great guys for me to learn from as I've continued to progress in the Cup Series as a newer driver. But it is a fun challenge, this type of racing. Talking about drafting, we're not necessarily at the limit of the cars. At some point, you're more at the limit of your competition and what's happening in the pack, and it really tests the communication of a team.
Now, in terms of how you earn respect in super speedway racing, your name comes up all the time as someone who people want to work with, and for good reason. The results show it. How long does it take to garner that respect from competitors? Multiple races, multiple laps, or is it something that you just have to try to master as you become a perfectionist of the art of super speedway racing?
Takes a long time to earn it. Doesn't take much time to lose it.
That's a great point.
It's a constant maintenance.
And we've heard some of that in this race today. We've heard some drivers say, I want to work with car number X. I don't want to work with car number Y. And I think that may end up being one of the biggest talking points in how this particular race ends. Who's going to be your best helper? Who's going to be your best pusher when it all matters most? So 25 laps to go. We're getting set to restart this race. The restart will come with 24 to go. And Nitro Motorsports, despite losing 2 bullets in the chamber, after Isabella Robusto, front row starter, had a mechanical issue that sent her to the garage area, and Wesley Slip has also gone to the garage after he had a solo spin earlier in the race. They still have a lot of cars up towards the front of the field. In fact, 4 in the top 10 and 2 on the front row for this restart, with Jake Finch, the control car, Gus Dean second.
So we're gonna try the teammate restart again. We said not to do it last time. Later lost the lead.
Yeah, same teammates, just situation reversed. Roles reversed right now.
We're like 1 for 3 right now on Nitro now in these restarts. So I know they'll get better at it. These guys have a lot of experience.
And we have Daniel Dye, remember, that pushed Isabella Robusto to the lead, but they probably were trying to do that early on.
That's a great point. I think Daniel's obviously been pretty aware. So in the same position, Gio Ruggiero has got a ton of experience, and he's going to try and do the same thing that Daniel Dye did in that earlier restart that you mentioned. He's going to try and shove through the 25 car, make sure that 15 can't get down. So while speculating, this is what's going to happen, but I would imagine that's one of the few reasons why Jake would have picked the top here.
So we 24 to go at the restart. We talked about a lot of the powerhouse teams. How about the number 27 that's going to restart on the inside of that fifth row, Tim Richmond? That's a family-owned team for the driver who is a lineman during the week, climbs utility poles to help out the utility company in Illinois. A great run for him, looking for a super speedway top 10 against all of these powerhouse teams that have shown so much muscle in ARCA competition. Back underway with 24 to go. Jake Finch brings us back to the restart.
And they've got a great launch, but he's not able to prevent Finch from getting down in front of his teammate.
He's got a great number 70 of Annunziato behind him, though. Strong outside line right now as well.
And as you're trying to establish some lanes, you're really well, especially on this back straightaway here where it's nice and flat. Is you just push to get somewhere, trying to establish some momentum. Your teammates lined up there. You see one of their teammates is pushing that 24 car, but I'm sure Annunziato wants to get close to the front of the field as well.
Right now, Daniel Dye has fallen back into the clutches. Jack Wood in that Pinnacle Racing Group number 28. Kitzmiller in the 97. He too had to start in the back, along with the eventual or initial pole sitter Jake Bowman. He's up to the top 5 in that 97 car.
You talked about Tim Richmond, that black car back there. Now he's 6th in line on the inside. But Andy J right behind him.
His best effort came in 2024, where he started second here and finished 5th. That's his career best finish. Trying to match or better that today, as he is the 6th car in the bottom.
He's been in contention here several times. He ran out of gas one time. He got shuffled out of the front row on a restart one time. Does a good job here.
I think any of these drivers that are in the top 10 had a chance to win this race right now with 23 laps to go. I mean, we've seen how fast this field has changed from single file to double file, 3 wide. I mean, it can happen lap to lap. It'll be different as you see the South End lane still trying to get these side drafts, still trying to pull themselves forward. And it just really struggled to break past this first 3 car breakaway.
And as the laps start to wind down, the pushes are going to get a little bit more aggressive. The side draft is going to get more aggressive, and these drivers are going to find themselves in precarious spots that they haven't put themselves in, maybe ever in their racing life.
You see Daniel Dye really get close to the inside car there, Jack Wood, and that's going to help pull that car back off. And see that gap in between Jack Wood and the 18 car now. That was made because the 24 grabbed onto that quarter panel, pulled him back, and that's what they're going to need to slowly inch forward and take some energy out of that inside lane.
See that bright purple car? Again, that's Taylor Reimer right behind her, Cole Raz in that 76 car. Allie Owens right behind that 76 of Cole Raz. And Allie doing a fantastic job.
It took Dye and Annunziato a little bit there to figure out the timing of trying to get locked together, as they almost touched off. Down here to have a little bit more momentum rolling to try to claw back up towards the Nitro Motorsports tandem that parades the field.
Well, if you're in Daniel Dye's position, Thomas Annunziata, you're wanting these small victories. We got 1 row last lap. Okay, let's figure out how to get the next row. You kind of use the same checkpoints. Okay, in the back straightaway. I'm now side by side with the 18. How do we get to the next car?
It may be 4 or 5 deep. May not be a full car length. It may just be 4 or 5 feet a lap.
This turn 4 exit's gonna catch somebody out here. We've been teasing it all day. These guys have been teasing us all day with one handling issue up there, and you see how much that really hurt the momentum for that outside lane as we're trying to get back up.
Yeah, that was the 97 of Kitzmiller that had his hands full coming off turn 4.
And so far today, as we've had 4 yellows, 3 for cause, those 3 have all been single car incidents. Last year, we made it 3 laps before the big one struck. Now we're 20 laps away from the end of this one, and you can see the pushing starting to get more aggressive.
I'm seeing these pushes from Coleman are really getting his teammate out of shape enough to where the push actually isn't pushing the car forward. It's actually pushing it left and right. And that's not going to make progress, but it's also going to heat up the tires on the 70 car, but also make him really uncomfortable. So they're going to have to sort that out, and that's going to be what's going to make or break this outside lane continue to move forward.
And that's a good shot. And looking at these cars straight on, these cars aren't exactly square for the world. They're actually tilted a little bit to the inside. We call it a skew, actually reverse skew. It gets that spoiler out of the air, makes these cars go faster. But they're not, the bumpers aren't square.
You almost want to line up to the left side or the right side. As you see Taylor Reimer, she's tired of watching those cars dance around in front of her. I think that's a smart move to be able to get down, obviously, further back in the middle of the pack. But I think that's going to be nerve-wracking. We still have 20 laps to go, and I think that looks like a good move for her. But it also does hurt this outside lane. That 18 cars got clear again. Almost get the 4th car clear now on the bottom of the lane car.
Yeah, that outside line just uses another good pusher, another good car out there.
Team number 97 of Jason Kitzmiller wash up off turn 4 the last couple of laps. Good information being relayed to Jake Bowman and company to give that car some room to gather itself back in to prevent contact up to this point.
And it won't be a matter of time. If he moves up too far, then Taylor Reimer will plug that hole right quick like, and they'll put him up in the middle.
There's some Daniel guys finally got down. He was tired of, I mean, he was working for 10 laps to try and get that outside lane going, and lost faith with it, got clear. Probably didn't even trust the teammates behind him. I think that's a good move, and he can at least re-rack, understand where the momentum's at, and try again.
Now it's up to Annunziata, the 70 to bring that outside line up. He's side by side now with Jack Wood.
And that top wall, Tim Richmond with a great save behind Taylor Reimer. That top line, just by losing Taylor in the 77.
Oh, boy.
For 24, Daniel Dye, it cost them enough inertia and momentum that they're in danger of falling out of the top 5 in terms of contention right now, trying to build it back up.
And these are the things where, although the outside lane has been in play all race, you start to get the mob mentality, as I like to call it. People, everybody's bailing back to the bottom, everybody's bailing back to the bottom, and then all of a sudden, nobody wants to be in the outside lane anymore, and that's why those lanes die. Not because it's necessarily there or not there, but it's the competitors' decisions that really change where the momentum is in these lanes.
And watch this lap, because they're going to have to negotiate their way around the lap car.
It may happen in the banking on turn 4. They're going to catch Brad Smith coming to the tri-oval as Kitzmiller bounces off Annunziata, and Smith tries to yield.
You can see that coming from a long way away, and these guys and girls were smart enough to really back out and lift, and in a point incident, they're able to work their way around this lap car. But once again, when those things happen, it really breaks up the field, and I think Daniel Dye's happy with his decision here to get to the bottom.
And despite the contact, Annunziata was able to survive, and he tails with a 6-car breakaway at the front of the pack. And James Finch, the leader in the General Tire 200, will come back and take you to the finish on the General Tire 200 on top.
Coming up to 15 laps to go in the ARCA Menards season opener, General Tire 200 at Daytona. We'll go through the full field running order in the late going of this race. Jake Finch is your leader, Gustine in second, Gio Ruggiero in third, Daniel Dye fourth, and Jack Wood rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Thomas Annunziata is in 6th, Jake Bowman 7th, Jason Kitzmiller in 8th, Allie Owens 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Cole Raz. 11th is Tim Richmond, Sean Court in 12th, Taylor Reimer 13th, Indy Jankowiak in 14th, Glenn Ring 15th, Michael Maples is 16th, 17th for Ryan Vargas, Robbie Keneally 18th, Bryce Applegate 19th, and Bobby Earnhardt in 20th. Eric Caudell 21st, 22nd is Bryce Hogberg, Willie Mullins 23rd, Takuma Koga 24th, Hunter Deshtel in 25th, Ed Papa 26th, Garrett Mitchell in 27th. First car lap down right now is Cletus McFarland. AJ Boyer in 28th, Brad Smith 29th, Charles Waslowski in 30th, Presley Sora 31st, Brian Doze 32nd, Con Nicolopoulos 33rd, 34th for Caleb Costner, who stalled out in the racetrack, bringing out the most recent yellow, or 4th out of 4 on the day. Wesley Slimp is in 35th. He also had a flat tire earlier, resulting in a spin. Alex Clubb is in 36th. Isabella Robusto, mechanical failure, has gone behind the pit wall multiple times into the garage area to try to make repairs. She's in 37th. Minnie Tyrell is in 38th. Derek White, 39th. Ryan Huff rounds out the 40-car field. We're under caution, it looks like, for the 5th time today, as we are on the commercial break right now, so have to wait to see what the caution's going to be out for. And for the fans watching this stream live on the channel, Cletus McFarland is now back on the lead lap. He will get the free pass. About 14 laps to go at the time of the yellow. And again, we'll have to wait and see what it is. Did a good job of not LePaging the pack. Yes, they did. Yeah, Brad Smith just stayed out of the way. He was down on the apron. Which, if you're well off the pace, that's the best way to be. Commercial yellow, yes. Full screen commercial, caution's out. Not aware of exactly what the caution is for. It's actually the second time that that's happened today. That happened early in the race as well. We have not had the big one here at Daytona. But we have had a massive hit as the 68. And that front end is completely smashed in. It wasn't the big one, but it was a big hit. Allie Owens in the 68 car was running in 9th when they cut the commercial. We'll see what happened. So she was smoking at the end of the front stretch and then went for a spin head on into the outside wall in turns 1 and 2. There was another car also collected that she had clipped before the spin. And I'm not sure if she might have had some fluids leaking on the rear tires, which allowed her to lose control as the car was smoking headed off into the corner, but that's very possible. And it looked like Sean Core in the 8 car was who had gotten clipped, and he got a piece of the wall after contact with Owens. Could have been a tire issue, yeah. That was a lot of smoke, though. It looked like more than a tire issue. Looked like it was coming out from under the hood of the race car. Cletus McFarland behind it all, just missed the incident. So 2-car crash in turns 1 and 2, causing our 5th caution of the race. McFarland will get the free pass. We are under a red flag condition now with just 12 laps to go.
We heard him backing off from his onboard camera. He would have been right in the middle of that. So nice job by Cletus and in a spotter as well.
Not the result that Allie Owens was hoping for in her return to competition, but a tremendous run and effort up until that point as she was running in the top 10. The Kinetic on board with Cletus McFarland as he is slated to get the free pass on this caution. So he will get back on the lead lap with a restart that will likely come with less than 10 laps to go as the red flag is being displayed. As they tow the number 68 car off, you have to wonder just about how much fluid was laid down on the approach to turn 1 after something came undone on that car before it went around once it hit the banking. So our 5th caution of the race, producing our first and hopefully only red flag of the contest, with the field being stopped on the back straightaway for the opportunity to clean up the approach to turn number 1 and look for an opportunity to see this one through to the finish.
Let's see if we can check in with our buddy Cletus. Hey, Cletus, Bill Parsons in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Hey, man, you zigged at the right time to miss that. Great job missing that accident. We heard you from your onboard. You back off the throttle, gave you enough room to get by that thing.
You know what?
We did.
Your car's going right in front of me like that, but I went high. I tell you, this year, Zach went low, literally flew right by us. It felt like the most incredible maneuver I've ever made.
We're going to watch it again from your onboard. We saw the smoke up ahead. You saw you get out of the throttle, Gave you enough room to get by, and the doubly good news is now you're back on the lead lap.
Brother, stars are aligning. Anything can happen. I'm glad to have beaten my lap record of 17 laps at Daytona. I'm having the time of my life, the dream. Speaking to all of my, the people that supported me here, I could not be more grateful.
Hey, Cletus, it's Austin Cinder at K. We're up here watching your progress. It sounded like your confidence was at absolute zero to start the race. What is it at now? I thought you did pretty good. Thought the car's driving pretty well. What do you think? What are our odds here as we line up at the tail of the field with probably about 10 laps to go to get this thing?
Well, hey, Austin Cindric, I'm a big fan. Well, yeah, you're right. I felt like a complete idiot last night. You know, just such a disappointing performance. I was very nervous going into today. I'll be honest, like the car steps out just like the truck did last night, but I'm not so, terrified, white knuckled on the wheel in this thing. I just feel a little bit more comfortable in it. And I've been able to just recover from the step out, gaining my confidence back with every lap, and I'm just really happy.
Awesome. Well, keep it up. Keep those eyes open too. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of it.
I know. I think I'm on the tail now, right?
Hey, you're on the lead lap. That's what counts.
That's right, brother. Let's get back out there. Thank you.
Good luck.
Cletus McFarland going to have a chance to get the best result possible once this race gets back underway. And Cletus is obviously someone who is known by automotive enthusiasts everywhere, but us on the stock car side got to know him quite well. This is what happened last year.
Well, I was having the best day of my life. Riding around Daytona like bald eagle. Just flat out. Avoided a wreck, which was awesome. I thought I was the best driver to ever exist in that moment. It's probably because my sleeves were cut off that I was able to pull off that maneuver coming down pit road. Then someone slammed into my rear left quarter, spun me out, lived through that, got some fresh tires, went back out of there. I'm hot dogging into 1 and 2, and bam, blew the front end right off my hot dog. So,
How can you not love it? Funny thing about everything that he just said, all the crazy things he just said, when he said rear left, this is not his first time. This is his first time doing it. Just, it's left rear, not rear left.
Yeah, and we got to see him in more than just ARCA competition beginning this year. This was last night of the truck race. Unfortunately, though, it did not pan out the way he had hoped. This is before we got 10 laps in, off of turn number 4.
And that exact same spot we've seen so much action, and man, what a hard hit that was.
Yeah, you can hear him pretty hard on himself early in the race, but there are a lot of drivers that have knocked themselves in that spot. So I'm glad that he got another shot to race today and be able to go out and have some fun. He's really run well inside the top 10 most of the day until they had that jack failure on pit road. So he'll have a shot here to make some moves, dice up through the field, get a few slingshots, and probably have something to talk about afterwards.
So we remain under the red flag with 12 laps to go with the General Tire 200. Jake Finch, the leader. The last Florida native to win here was Rick Wilson in 1984.
Wow.
So Jake trying to break quite the trend. Daniel Dye also has the opportunity to do that as well, as he currently sits in 4th place. So let's flash back to when these two drivers were in position to win this race. That's Jake Finch on the outside, Gus Dean on the inside.
Restart. Well, that one did work. There was some miscommunication on what was going to go on there. Gus Dean did not let the leader, Jake Finch, back in line. Jake ended up getting wrecked, getting into turn 3 on the last lap. Gus Dean went on to the victory.
We've been sitting here talking about the advantages of having teammates, but there's also a lot of hurt feelings and potential for hurt feelings when you trust those around you and things that happen. Obviously, Gus wasn't necessarily the reason why Jake got wrecked there at the end, but definitely played a big role in how that race finished. And I bet you these guys are sitting here under red flag thinking about that.
And that was the only 2 laps that Gus Dean led that night en route to victory. Well, Daniel Dye has had a phenomenal afternoon here at Daytona and is still in contention for victory. For more, we'll go down to Alex.
I'm down here with Daniel Dye's crew chief, Blake Brainbridge, who Daniel is running a phenomenal race today. We've seen him lead a ton of laps. He's sitting currently in 4th. What's the mindset now, knowing that we're going to go at it these 10 laps possibly at Daytona?
Well, it's everybody making deals. It's let's make a deal up top. It's a chess match today. I was feeling really good before the caution, but I'm still feeling good. Everything's got to go just right. Daniel really likes working with 18 right now, 28, and we're up against the nitro cars, and we know they're going to work together. We really didn't need this caution right here because I feel like they were going to be close on fuel. We're really good. This could help them. We'll see. I mean, when you're leading, use a lot of fuel. So that's what we're hoping to go green. But we have a really fast champion Ford today, and it's SPS. Joe is he owns the team, man, and he gave Daniel a chance, and Daniel wanted to do this race, and we're going to do the Xfinity race right after this too. So it's a double header today. So I'm really excited. Daniel's excited, and just gives us an opportunity to work together before the other show.
I know you've had a long history of working with Daniel, and he's been hearing you in his ear for a very long time. How do you keep him calm, knowing that we're going to have a late race restart here at Daytona?
I always know with Daniel when he's in a good mood and he's singing on the radio and he's having a good time. I don't have to keep him as calm today. But he's been really good, and Frank Denny's up there with his spotter, normal spotter. He's doing a heck of a job making deals for us and keeping him calm. So I'm sure by the end of the day, at some point, I'm going to have to keep him calm, whether it's this race or the next one.
Thanks for the time. It's Blake Bainbridge. Daniel Dye sits in fourth.
We had Daniel in the truck series for a couple of years, and it seemed like all of a sudden it was like flipping the switch. All of a sudden he got it. He was more competitive, kept piling up the good finishes, went on to the Xfinity series, had a pretty decent year last year. Back to the truck series, look for good things out of Daniel this year.
He's kept himself quite busy. Last year ran some non-wing events at Millbridge, and he won a Bowman Gray Stadium Saturday night feature in a sportsman car midsummer last year, just to keep himself fresh for opportunities to win like this. We've seen a lot of very busy drivers. We've seen a lot of close calls. And Austin, we've seen a lot of busy hands. How about another recent sweet move of the race nominee for this moment for Thomas Annunziata in the 70?
Yeah, you look inside the cockpit of that 70 car, watch those white gloves on that steering wheel, bunch of wheel in the car, counter steer, and you're going to get a shove from your teammate now. And hold on to it. It's just a day in the life of being a driver here at Daytona. We're always hanging on and trying to move forward.
And we're watching that slow motion. But again, they're excess of 180 miles an hour while that's going.
Don't forget, ARCARacing.com, Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern. See who gets the first Reese's Sweet Move of 2026 as the yellow flag is displayed, ending our red flag period, sizing up what is likely going to be a less than 10-lap shootout to decide the General Tire 200. The field is going to roll off behind the pace car, and we will size the field up for a run to the finish. Lifting up our fifth caution after a mechanical issue with Alan Owens. We'll be back to wrap up the top 200 right after this.
All right. 2-car incident with Sean Core, Allie Owens. Owens taking the brunt of that incident and lengthy cleanup in turns 1 and 2, the cause of the red flag. We are back under caution flag conditions with 12 laps to go, though, and we'll get a restart in here in a few laps. They will have to open pit road up this time by, I would assume. If not this lap, the following lap. So I'm going to say probably 9 laps to go in the restart here at Daytona, maybe 8. Not going to be a lot of time for Cletus McFarland, who just got the free pass to try to go back at it and race his way to the front of the field. There are 28 cars on the lead lap. Probably less than that now with the 2 cars that were just involved in that incident. We'll just have to wait a couple more laps on that. Looks like Cletus is 26th. So 26 cars looking like they're going to be on the lead lap for the next restart. Top 10 in the running order right now has Jake Finch in the lead, Gustine in second, Gio Ruggiero third, Daniel Dye fourth, Jack Wood in fifth, Thomas Annunziata sixth, Jake Bowman seventh, Jason Kitzmiller eighth, Cole Raz ninth, and rounding out the top 10, Tim Richmond. Reminder, start time for tomorrow's Daytona 500 live on the channel will begin at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're moving our start time up because the actual start time of the Daytona 500 had gotten moved up because of potential rain. Gen X, Simon Poe, thanks for tuning in. Met Jake Finch a couple of times. Excited to see him doing good today. Good luck, Jake. And he might get the win. Out in front, late. We'll see if he can hold on. Me, myself, and I, thanks for tuning in also. Mike G, I don't know if I shouted you out yet, but I saw you earlier. Thanks for tuning back in. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. We did get to our like goal of 50 likes a little while back. I believe we're at 60 right now. 59, almost at 60. Helps push these streams out. We got one more stream coming up yet today. 5 p.m. Eastern will be live for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Daytona. Starting in the late daylight, dusk hours, moving into the night for the finish. And tomorrow, the Daytona 500 again has been moved up. Start time will be just after 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live here on the channel with a special 1 hour pre-race at 1 p.m. Eastern. Pre-race predictions. We'll do some NASCAR trivia, get to listen into some driver interviews prior to the drop of the green flag, as we have our season in review, if you will. Every time I hear Tim Richmond, I look at the tote of 1987, the Winston posters. Yeah, not that Tim Richmond. Same spelling, though. Same spelling, same name. Different guy. 10 laps to go at the line here. We'll see if the officials will give them 1 to go. And we'll get to the restart potentially the next time by. Nope. Not yet. I was expecting 8 or 9 to go, so that means we're not going to go green with 9 laps left, which means at least 8. Still single file up at the front of the field. Lights are still on the pace car as well. Now in ARCA, only 1 attempt at an overtime restart if we did go past the scheduled distance. With as many cars on the lead lap as we have, that's usually not the case for ARCA at Daytona, so hopefully things go swell here. I'm really hoping they get the 1 to go signal this time. I know they had to open pit road up. They probably didn't do that until coming to 11 to go, when they were parked on the back stretch at 12 to go. Oh, I should say probably that last time by, actually. They probably didn't open up the pits right when they gave them the caution flag, dropping the red. So between them going back to caution, taking that commercial, we've really only ran about 2 whole laps of yellow. Yeah, hopefully they get 1 to go this time. Showing the next few races on the ARCA season. The 4th race of the year at Talladega, we're going to be live for that one in the month of April. A lot of space between races early in the ARCA season. 3 races between now and April 25th. Only 2 of them between now and April 18th at Kansas. That's really when they ultimately start the ARCA season and we get into week-to-week coverage. Their second race is at Phoenix 3 weeks from today. And then they go 5 weeks between Phoenix and Kansas. But again, we will be live for that Talladega race. That will be on Fox Sports 1 at 12:30 p.m. Eastern that Saturday afternoon. That'll be the second and last coverage of an ARCA race we do this season on the channel. All right. So Jake Finch, Gus Dean. Front row for the restart. Outside of row 1 is going to be Finch. I believe Dean on the bottom. Try to get a good look at that again. Teammates have white cars. Yeah, I believe Dean's on the bottom. Finch will be the control car on the restart. Gio Ruggiero in the 18. Trying to get redemption for JGR, who dominated the race with William Sawalich last season. See if they can go to victory lane this year as a group. Daniel Dye's had a very fast race car today. He's up in 4th. Cletus McFarlane coming from the tail end of the field on the restart after being the first car lap down, getting the free pass. He's in 26th. Will we stay green to the end of the race? 8 laps. How out of control is this going to get, or will it be mostly in control? Can the two Nitro teammates at the front of the field find their way in line quickly, keep that stranglehold? They've had great speed in the cars all day long. Pace car is on pit road. Green flag back in the air at Daytona. Daniel Dye trying to push the 15 of Jake Finch out in front. Finch is going to move down in front of his teammate, and now Dye will get the push from Annunziata on the outside lane, headed into turn number 1. Only 5 cars on that outside lane up inside the top half of the field, really, in this lead pack, so they definitely don't have the numbers. And 2 of the faster cars for Nitro Motorsports down on the bottom, bump drafting each other. We'll get 1-2 ahead of the pack into turn 3. Oh, trouble! Back straightaway. 70 car hard into the outside wall. Car still trying to narrowly avoid at the back of the pack. Looks like a single car incident. I would imagine it was a push gone wrong because that was right at the end of the back straightaway, and caution's out again. And now we'll have even less laps to go in the next restart as we'll head into overtime. Taylor Walston, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, didn't even make it a lap. They were still getting to speed down the back straightaway, and the 70 gets turned hard head-on into the outside wall. He was the second car in line on the outside. I don't know who was behind him. I have to take a look at the replay. I don't think this is going to put us into overtime, though. I think we'll get a restart before 2 to go. So Kitzmiller had a push from behind by the 28 of Jack Wood. Though Wood was not still pushing him when contact was made with the 70. It was a quick little shove. Kitzmiller got off center when he made contact with Annunziata and turned him straight right. Head-on impact into the outside wall. Everybody else able to miss. There were a couple cars that had to go down to the grass entering turn 3 to miss the incident when Annunziata came sliding down the bank into the racetrack in the middle of turns 3 and 4. ARCA race at Kansas falls on your birthday. There you go. About a little birthday present. Go out to Kansas Speedway. Fun racetrack. Sure, the Cup race the following day is going to put on a show. Yeah, we should get a restart in before going into overtime. Showing Cletus McFarlane missing another incident. Didn't really have a lot of time to try to make his way forward with having that caution in a half a lap. Well, well, well. Laps obviously still counting right now under the caution. Not like the Clash last weekend. where we had 17 cautions in abundance, and those caution laps did not count. That was only because it was an exhibition race. And Nitro Motorsports keeps timing out these restarts well, but getting the quick cautions, now they have to do it over and over and over again. And we'll see if they can connect for a third consecutive restart, get the 2 cars out in front, keep the speed that they've had all day in their race cars, and go for the win. Full screen commercial break under the caution with about 6 laps to go at Daytona. Now, if we do have a restart with 2 laps to go at lap 79, that would technically not be an overtime restart because we wouldn't be past the scheduled distance. I think we can get a restart in before that. So if we see another caution on a restart, then that next restart would be deemed the overtime restart. Because again, only 1 attempt at overtime in ARCA. Top 10 in the running order. Headed to the next restart, we'll have Jake Finch in the lead, Gustine in second, Gio Ruggiero third, Daniel Dye fourth, Jack Wood in fifth, Jake Bowman in sixth, Jason Kitzmiller seventh, Tim Richmond eighth, Cole Raz ninth, and Taylor Reimer rounding out the top 10. And on the Cletus watch, he is in 20th. Got 6 positions. Missing the crash on the restart. He'll be in 20th with a few laps left. I'm not counting him out of a top 10. He's got a top 5 car on single car speed. If he can get some drafting help, I think he can end up with a top 10 finish still. It's just unfortunate they couldn't get that free pass after falling a lap down because of the jack issue on the lap 40 caution. So he spent the entire second half of the race from halfway home, 40 laps in, up until the second to last yellow, which didn't happen till 12 to go. And we just saw a restart, obviously, with 8 laps left. So not a lot of time to try to recover from that. There was another caution that he just wasn't able to get into the free pass position that happened right around 23 laps left. And that would have been enough time to try to race his way forward from that one, but unfortunately not getting to the free pass spot before that. Definitely hurt. Going to be 4 laps to go this time by. And I don't think they're going green this time either. Nope. It turns 3 and 4 right now. Maybe they'll be coming to 1 to go this time by. Corey Heim for 2311 Racing in the Daytona 500 tomorrow has caught up with Alex Weaver on pit road.
10th position. What are you seeing from her in that 77 machine?
Yeah, she's done a fantastic job. I think we're both, a little bit nervous coming down here for her first race, but, she takes it so seriously. She does such a fantastic job with her preparation. She wants to do this for a living, and she's doing all the right things to make that happen. So I'm just happy for her that she's, in the top 10, and I know she's kind of settling in as we go, but looks like we actually got a problem here, unfortunately, but yeah, it's definitely not good, but
When you talk to her, though, just about these races, and we're going to let Corey get back up here to hear what is going on with Taylor, but what was the advice for her today?
yeah, really, she's done everything right. She's dealt with a lot of adversity, and looks like we're unfortunately dealing with some more here, but she had a bad qualifying group. She didn't really get the draft in practice the other day, but she's dealt with the adversity really well, and looks like we're obviously no stranger to it. That she's dealing with some more problems, but we're working on it, and hopefully we can get back on track here.
Thanks, Corey. We'll find out what's going on with the 77 down here on pit road.
Talk about live sports. While we're talking to Corey, I'm going to start 29th in the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Taylor Reimer's car appears to not being able to get up and under power.
Yeah, they keep having the push truck behind Reimer trying to push her, get her going. She'll take off for a few seconds, slow back down, and looks like she's just going to have to get a push all the way back into the pits. So this is going to elongate her caution by at least another lap. And we might be looking at more like 2 laps to go in the restart if they can't get Reimer back into the pits this time by. Tough break. She was in the 9th place position right before this happened. Knowing that the safety truck is still just pushing the 77 on the apron all the way back into the pits. They're in turns 3 and 4 right now. I don't think they're going to go green this time. I think we're only going to have 2 laps to go. It would not be an overtime restart, though. So, in the event of a caution before the field takes the white flag, we would have our one and only overtime restart after that. Well, now the field's doubled up. Lights are out on the pace car. They will be going green this time by 2 laps to go at Daytona when we get back racing again. This is going to get wild. Had an overtime restart last night in the truck race with a 2-lap shootout, and that ended up being an epic finish. I would imagine this is going to be a good one, too. Are we going to see 4 wide through the tri-oval? I would probably bank on no, but it is going to be guns blazing. I don't know if the 15 and the 25 are going to work together or if they're going to try to just stay double wide in their lines and maybe lock out the field. Curious to see if their strategy is going to change off of what they've been able to do the last couple of restarts. Obviously, you have to hope that the pushes are going to go correct as well. So outside of row 1 is going to be Gus Dean. Jake Finch, who had the outside of row 1 on the last restart, now going to take the bottom. So I think they're going to stay gridlocked. With Finch taking the bottom this time instead of the top, I don't think they're going to try to get organized 1-2 like they have been doing. I think at this point it's double wide. Hope that they stay gridlocked and it's just going to be between the 2 of them going for the win. If things get disorganized, one car gets pushed out ahead of another. We shall see what's going to happen. All right, Finch going to lead us to the green here. Green flag back in the air, 2 laps to go. Daniel Dye going to try to push the 25 of Gus Dean forward. Could really get locked onto the back bumper. Nose to nose for the lead into turns 1 and 2. Dozen cars up at the front of the field in this lead pack that will be going for the win as they head for the back straightaway. Cars are getting squirrely because of pushes going on in the back straightaway. Both lines, the 15 gets turned in front of the field. Both Nitro cars are into the outside wall. After leading the race 1-2, they're not going to be there anymore. Oh, that was the worst thing that could have happened. The push to the 15 of Finch on the bottom lane was not square. He gets tagged in the right rear, went across the double yellow line, and both cars get taken out in a crash. Giro ends up with the lead, and now we're going into overtime. We will have one more restart. That was the absolute worst thing that could have happened for that team. Ruggiero and Jack Wood are now going to be first and second for the OT restart. Oh, man, that got ugly.
In the 15 of Jake Finch. We'll get a good look at it right here. Yeah, it's in the inside lane, super tight with these first three cars. And so one bump, they kind of push the 15 over and then to the left, and then we're still pushing at that point under the line. And I'm not sure you can put blame on just one driver there. And obviously, they're also really close. We talked about the sensitivity of the right side door. See how close the 15 gets to the 25, and he's just trying to hold on at that point. It's just tough, close racing. Come down to these finishes. It's not like there was anything nothing malicious or anything there. It's just, I mean, it's obviously the 18 of Giro got on the back of the 15, but the 15 wanted that push from Giro.
Really happy to see the roof flaps deploy at the time in which they did. 'Cause at one point, it looked like the air was going to get underneath Jake Finch's car once Dean made contact with the right rear.
It's on board with Giro kind of catch the tail end of that there. But I mean, in his moment, you hear him never lift, but if you hit the brakes, you're getting wrecked from the guy behind you. So I'm not sure, like I said before, can really put blame on too many people there. But you see this first push kind of gets him out of the way, and then he's not lined up on the bumper in the right spot, and then he's on the right side of the bumper, which hooks him. So it's just a tough spot to be in. And if I'm to sit here and play devil's advocate, as a driver for tomorrow, I trust my teammate more than anyone else pushing me. And obviously these guys wanted to race it out, but between the two of them, between the two rows. But if you're the team and the driver, you're like, man, that might look different if I had a guy that was maybe going to take care of me, or maybe the push was going to be different. It's hard to say. You can never be 100% certain. But
And we could have had the same result.
absolutely,
We could have had 15 behind Jake Finch pushing.
absolutely.
A lot more with Jack Wood.
So this is that third column line with Jack Wood, and he did have somewhat of a reasonable gap in front. You could hear him lifting, and he's lifting because of the information the spotter's telling him. So I feel like Jack Wood did his part there, not to be a huge.
He was helping, but not pushing. Now, he wasn't certainly part of the incident, but going to end up in a great spot here. Going to be second on this restart.
Absolutely.
The thrill of victory is an overtime away, but the agony of defeat has been evident for the Nitro Motorsports game. As two of the dominant cars in the race will not make it to the end. The finish of the General Tire 200. Next.
This race is going long here today in the Daytona International Speedway General Tire 200 for the ARCA Menard Series. Giro, who was runner-up in the truck race last night, now leads coming into this one and only overtime restart. Not unlimited like it is in Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series racing. Take a rundown of our finishing, well, not finishing order, but a rundown of the full field order going into overtime. I think Cup practice is going to start on time. I think they're supposed to be 3 p.m. today. They should. Because there's only one overtime restart for ARCA, so this race will be done very shortly. This is going to be the last restart no matter what. They've wrecked on the opening lap of a restart twice now. Had that red flag that lasted just over 10 minutes shortly before that, so it's definitely turned into a relatively clean race and things getting sloppy down the stretch. Couple of multi-car incidents. With Ruggiero in the lead, we've got Jack Wood in second, Daniel Dye third, Jason Kitzmiller up to fourth, Jake Bowman is fifth. Sixth place, Tim Richmond, Cole Raz seventh, Andy Jankowiak eighth, Glenn Reen ninth, Ryan Vargas rounds out the top 10. Robbie Keneally in 11th, Eric Caudell 12th, Michael Maples 13th, Bobby Earnhardt in 14th, Garrett Mitchell 15th. 16th is Takuma Koga, Willie Mullins in 17th, Bryce Applegate 18th, AJ Moyer 19th, Bryce Hogberg 20th, Hunter Dechtel in 21st, Ed Papa 22nd, Jake Finch 23rd, Charles Wazlowski 24th, Gus Dean now back to 25th, Brad Smith 26th, Presley Sora 27th, Thomas Annunziata 28th, Brian Doza 29th, and Taylor Reimer is 30th. Con Nicolopoulos 31st, Caleb Costner 32nd, Sean Cord 33rd, Ali Owens 34th, Wesley Slim 35th, Alex Clupp 36th, Isabella Robusto 37th, Minnie Tyrell 38th, Derek White 39th, Ryan Huff rounds out our 40-car field. Our next live stream of the day will be at 5 p.m. Eastern for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series season opener at Daytona. And of course, again, the Daytona 500 tomorrow afternoon. At 1 p.m. Eastern, special start time there. 1 hour before race day, we already had to move that start time up because of the race itself getting moved up. Approximately 40 minutes from the initial start time, which was supposed to be about 2:50 Eastern. Now set to go green at 2:13 Eastern tomorrow afternoon. So one attempt at an overtime restart, and it is the green and white flags together. So it will be a one-lap shootout to decide the race. One-lap shootout, green and white checkered combined. They should be getting the one-to-go signal this time by.
Well, forecast in the evening hours. The race is going to start around 1:30 p.m. Eastern, and pre-race coverage will kick off with Fox Race Day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time only on Fox to kick off the NASCAR Cup Series season. So, caution number 7. Here's how this race has unfolded, and the story has been a lot of the Nitro Motorsports competitors, including Isabella Robusto, who had a mechanical issue just past halfway to take her out of the race.
Yeah, tough to break for that young lady. There's Ali Owens, loses an engine going down into turn number 1. Unfortunately, made significant contact with the safer barrier. Sean Cole, the 8 car, also gets involved.
Another driver vying for a championship in ARCA in 2026. Thomas Annunziata turned into the outside wall while running in the lead pack. And very similar, the two cars right here battling for the lead in trouble.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, all of these highlights have been, tough breaks for Nitro Motorsports. Obviously, they're racing for the lead there for the win of the race here in the closing laps. And now we've only got, I think, one of them left in the race with Bowman and P4.
So Gio Ruggiero, the only driver with the option to choose where he wants to restart per the ARCA rulebook, has picked the bottom. Jack Wood, the Pinnacle Racing Group number 28, driving for the car and team that won this race last year.
Yep.
Will restart alongside in second.
More experience, I think, in the inside second row with Daniel Dye. Jason Kitzmiller ran his first full season in ARCA last year. Daniel truck season for a couple of years, Xfinity Series as well as ARCA back in the day. So a lot more experience, I think, on the inside behind Gio.
I think between the lineup, but also the lane choice, because we're gonna have a one-lap dash here, as Eric and Phil talked about this overtime format. I think your outside lane is your underdogs right now. I really like the combination of Daniel Dye, Gio Ruggiero, being able to get locked up and do the right things on this restart. But yeah, you never know. I mean, there could be a number of things that could happen, but this bottom line definitely looks great.
All right, going to be a total of 4 laps, I believe, past the scheduled distance when we do get back racing again. It'll be lap 84 for this overtime restart. It's going to be a 1-lap green-white checker. Gio Ruggiero electing the inside of row 1 for the restart, putting Jack Wood outside of row 1. Row 2 is going to be Daniel Dye, Jason Kitzmiller. Row 3, Jake Bullman, Tim Richmond. Row 4 will be Cole Raz and Andy Jankowiak. Pace car is going to be headed for pit road. Can they make it a full lap this time? Because the last 2 restarts, they've not been able to, as the pushing has gone just way wrong. Will anybody jump out to try to make a 3-wide maneuver and go for the win themselves? Getting up to speed on this lap, I don't know if it's going to be possible. Green flag back in the air. Great push by the 18. Couple cars at the tail end of the field kind of stacking up Somebody might be out of fuel or missed a shift or something. No caution there. We head for turns 1 and 2, and the top 2 cars are clear, while the 28 of Jack Wood, who is outside of row 1 on the restart, is now side by side for 3rd. Trying to side draft off of Jake Bowman in the 20. Nitro Motorsports still has a shot here. 20 car of Bowman is one of those cars. He's now cleared for 3rd on the back straightaway. One car turned down the racetrack, back straightaway into another. Primarily saves it. We do stay green. They're clear and out of the way. Top 5 or 6 cars are single file now at the very front of the field. Tightly nose to tail are the top 3. Ruggiero, Dye, and Bowman. Dye backing up, going to try to get a run as they come into the tri-oval one last time, but he doesn't get a push from behind. A run by Bowman to the outside, a block by Ruggiero, and Ruggiero is going to hold on to win at Daytona. Runner-up in trucks last night, and he'll win the ARCA race here today. Joe Gibbs Racing and Gio Ruggiero will get the win in the General Tire 200. Jake Bowman in 2nd, Cole Raz 3rd, Daniel Dye 4th, and Glenn Reen rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Jack Wood fell to 6th after restarting in 2nd. Jason Kitzmiller finishes in 7th, Ryan Vargas 8th, Bobby Earnhardt 9th, and Andy Jankowiak rounds out the top 10. Cletus McFarland came back to finish 11th, just barely missing out on a top 10 finish. Michael Maples in 12th. Bryce Applegate 13th, AJ Moyer 14th, Robbie Keneally 15th, Takuma Koga in 16th, Willie Mullins in 17th, Bryce Hogberg 18th, Hunter Dechtel in 19th, Jake Finch 20th, 21st Ed Papa, Eric Caudell 22nd, Tim Richmond 23rd, Charles Wazlowski 24th, Brad Smith 25th, Thomas Annunziata 26th, Presley Sora 27th, Brian Doza 28th, Gustine 29th, Taylor Reimer 30th, 31st for Con Nicolopoulos, Caleb Costner 32nd, Sean Court 33rd, Ali Owens 34th, Wesley Slint 35th, Alex Clubb 36th, Isabella Robusto 37th, Minnie Tyrell 38th, Derek White 39th, and 40th. Ryan Huff rounds out our 40-car field for the race. Margin of victory about 1/10 of a second for Gio Ruggiero over Jake Bowman. We had 7 cautions and 1 overtime restart. Four laps past the scheduled distance, 84 out of originally scheduled 80. And after his burnout on the front stretch, Gio Ruggiero will hop out of his number 18 Toyota Camry. And we will hear a word from our race winner.
This race. Get the crowd to respond. He only led the final 6 laps of this race, and that was all that mattered for the JGR number 18 team. And Phil, as you said, he's still got work to do today in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, one of 2 scheduled starts for him there. He very well may want to have the boom on standby with his super speedway prowess, but for the first time in his career, he's an ARCA Menard Series winner, and he gets that initial victory at the World Center of Racing.
We're going to get a smile out of him, you think?
Let's find out.
Thought up with Gio yesterday. What'd you do in the offseason? Worked out. That was pretty much it. Focus forward on the task at hand in 2026. Now the approval of the crowd on the front stretch. Gio Ruggiero climbs from the car, a winner. Caitlin Mincy is with Gio Ruggiero.
Yes, he's getting all the congratulations, of course, from his teammates. What an incredible performance out of you. You were a winner at Daytona. What does that feel like?
Yeah, it's awesome. Obviously, I wanted to win last night and came up short, so got one more to win in the afternoon.
Yeah, but how did you and your team put this one together? There was a lot of obstacles to face at the end of this race. How were you able to put it all together?
Yeah, for sure. It got hectic there at the end. I was just trying to push our lane forward, and the 15 just got squirrely in front of me and lost it. So that kind of is unfortunate for him, but glad we came out with a win.
You really came onto the scene strong last year, obviously in the Truck Series, but winning at Daytona, such an iconic racetrack. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's awesome. I wanted to do a bigger burnout for the fans, but I didn't want to turn the camera up too much. So just happy to be here. Thankful for everybody at Toyota, First Auto Group, Joe Gibbs Racing, and everybody on this 18 team.
Congratulations, Gio Ruggiero, the winner here at Daytona for the season opener. Eric.
Thanks, Caitlin. He told us yesterday.
Well, we'll be going for the Saturday sweep in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race later. Our start time there again, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern for tomorrow's Daytona 500. Appreciate everybody tuning in for this one. See you guys in a little bit, about 2.5 hours from now. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. And 2 more streams still to go here today. See you guys in a little bit. And thanks for watching.